On the day we went deep-sea fishing, the student from a low-income family, whom Xingyan sponsored, slipped off the deck due to a mistake in handling the equipment. Xingyan was pulled into the sea along with him. I managed to drag and haul them both back to safety on the boat. Yet, the impoverished student ended up in a vegetative state due to asphyxiation. Xingyan publicly announced his intention to marry me, my savior. I must repay you properly. But his way of repaying me was to drive my family to bankruptcy after securing the family fortune. He then had a hit-and-run car target me. He said, "I won't let you die. You should end up in a vegetative state, just like Ying. If you hadn't deliberately hesitated, how could she have suffocated? Ying suffered enough, and you still had to harm her." When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day of the deep-sea fishing trip. This time, let them be a pair of lovebirds in the sea. 1. Why won't the fish bite my hook? Is it because I'm ugly? Lu Ying huffed, puffing out her cheeks like a pufferfish. Xingyan was amused by her words. Ugly? If you're ugly, then there's no such thing as a beautiful woman left in this world. Hearing this, Lu Ying shot me a triumphant, challenging look. Then, with a bashful glance at Xingyan, she put down her fishing rod and went to fetch a net. She returned with a large fishing net, planted a hand on her hip, and declared with conviction, "If I can't catch a fish with a rod, I refuse to believe I can't catch one with a net." With that, she walked to the edge of the deck with the net, ready to cast it. Seeing this familiar scene, I realized I had been reborn. In my past life, Xingyan took us, his group of friends, out on his yacht for some deep-sea fishing and a party. Lu Ying was a financially disadvantaged student Xingyan sponsored. It was her first time out at sea, and she was thrilled. Xingyan looked after her with great care. Seeing she was about to go fishing, he followed to lend a hand. Then, in a moment of carelessness, Lu Ying slipped off the deck and into the sea. She ended up pulling Xingyan down with her. Despite his love for sailing, Xingyan was a complete landlubber when it came to swimming. While everyone else was partying over there, I was closest to the two of them. Without a second thought, I jumped in immediately to save them. Xingyan was the closest to me. I swam towards him with all my strength and managed to get him back onto the deck. When I jumped back in to save Lu Ying, the current had already swept her under the yacht. I finally managed to pull her out, but she had suffered severe brain damage from oxygen deprivation and was left in a vegetative state. After the incident, Xingyan showed no signs of distress. On the contrary, he proposed to me, saying it was to repay the debt of saving his life. But after the wedding, not only did I not receive Xingyan's gratitude, he gradually seized control of our family company, used every trick in the book to bankrupt it, and drove my parents to jump to their deaths. I was also run over by a driver hired by Xingyan, leaving me in a vegetative state, and all of this was simply because I didn't save Lu Ying first back then. He said I was the one who cost him his one true love. If I could do it all over again. The desperate cries for help from Xingyan and Lu Ying echoed in my ears once more. I stood on the deck, watching it all unfold, then coldly averted my gaze and turned to walk back toward the party. Didn't Xingyan consider Lu Ying the love of his life? Well then, this time, let him join his beloved in the sea. Let them be a pair of lovebirds on the waves. Two splashes sounded in quick succession behind me. A smirk touched my lips as I blended back into the party, ready to have some fun with everyone. A short while later, the lively party was thrown into chaos by a sudden commotion. Someone shouted, "Is that young Master Sheng? He fell overboard." Everyone stampeded toward the deck. I followed close behind and arrived just in time to see a few unfamiliar men hauling Xingyan and Lu Ying out of the water. Xingyan, who couldn't swim, had lost consciousness, and someone was performing CPR on him. As the eldest son of the prestigious Sheng family, his accident instantly became the center of attention. Lu Ying, who had been pulled from the water alongside him, was completely ignored. After a long while, I noticed Lu Ying, who was supposed to be unconscious, furrow her brows ever so slightly. Getting impatient. Are we, in her past life, she managed to fake being a vegetable for so long. How come she can't keep up the act for just a little while now? That's right. Lu Ying is fine. Not only can she swim, but she's also really good at holding her breath. At first in my past life, I also thought she had become a vegetable because she wasn't rescued in time. It wasn't until after I died that I realized the whole thing was just an act put on by Lu Ying, all because Xingyan's mother didn't approve of their relationship. She had privately warned Lu Ying to stay away from her son. The moment she fell into the sea, Lu Ying hatched this plan. She wanted to prove her importance to Xingyan in his mother's eyes, so she faked a vegetative state. Unfortunately, her mother-in-law-to-be saw right through it. Her plan backfired spectacularly. and she was shipped off to the United States under the pretext of receiving medical treatment abroad. In the U.S., Lu Yingying got another stern warning from Xingyan's mother. She was too scared to set her sights on Xingyan again. And she didn't dare return to China either. Xingyan, meanwhile, had always believed Lu Yingying had become a vegetable. He never knew it was all just an act put on by his mother and Lu Yingying. He took out all his hatred on me. In my past life, the moment I thought was the happiest was when Xingyan proposed to me. After pining for him for so many years, I had finally gotten my wish. Little did I know that marrying him would be the beginning of my nightmare. I clenched my fists tightly, forcing down the hatred in my heart as I watched the chaotic scene before me with cold detachment. The yacht soon docked. An ambulance was already waiting on the shore, and both Xingyan and Lu Yingying were carried into it and taken to the hospital. The hospital can't have too many people staying, the doctor said. Only the patient's family should remain. Everyone else, please leave. I'll stay, I said, stepping forward. Xingyan's mother had arrived by then. Hearing this, she nodded in approval. Xiao Yu can stay, the rest of you should head home. Then she patted me on the shoulder. Xiao Yu, could you see them out for me? I know that in Xingyan's mother's eyes, I've always been her preferred choice for a daughter-in-law, and she's been trying to set us up all along. Now, by asking me to see him off, the hint couldn't be more obvious. So, as I was leaving, some people even congratulated me, saying I was about to get my wish. I just smiled without saying a word. I didn't come out to see them off, of course. I was just making myself scarce so Lu Yingying and Xingyan's mother could have some space. I bet it won't be long before Xingyan's mother realizes Lu Yingying is perfectly fine and was just putting on an act. 3. I had timed it perfectly before heading back. Xingyan's mother was still outside the emergency room. Seeing how pale she looked, I gently reassured her. Auntie, don't worry, Xingyan will be fine. Xingyan's mother's expression turned even colder. Even if something happens to him, he deserves it. I've told him he has poor judgment, can't see people for who they are, and is easily fooled. He never listens to me. And now look what happened, he almost drowned himself. While that person is perfectly fine and still has the nerve to put on an act, he's been supporting that little vixen. All cunning and no brains. Does he think the doctors in this hospital are just for show? At that point, I was certain she had already figured out that Lu Yingying was putting on an act. The fact that she hasn't said anything yet probably means she's decided to turn the tables and send Lu Yingying abroad. I asked, feigning ignorance. Auntie, who are you talking about? Xingyan's mother opened her mouth, then gave a faint smile. No one. She took my hand and said, Xiao Yu, once Xingyan wakes up, I'll arrange a meeting with your parents to discuss your marriage. I calmly and naturally withdrew my hand. Auntie, I haven't graduated yet. There's no rush to talk about marriage. Let's discuss it after I finish my studies. Xingyan's mother looked at me silently for a moment before asking tentatively, Xiao Yu, have you heard something? I was just talking nonsense earlier. Please don't read too much into it. You know, you're the one I have in mind above all others. The corners of my lips curved into a polite smile. Auntie, I understand. Let's talk after Xingyan recovers. Xingyan's mother sighed, her gaze fixed on the light above the operating room with worry and anxiety. Finally, Xingyan was wheeled out. The doctor said he was out of danger, and Xingyan's mother let out a genuine, deep sigh of relief. TSK, he's a lucky one. A little over 2 hours later, Xingyan regained consciousness. The first words he managed to utter were, Yingying, is she okay? His mother snorted coldly. You should worry about yourself first. I told you to learn how to swim, but you refused, and you insisted on going out to sea anyway. I'm confiscating your yacht tomorrow. Xingyan struggled to sit up. What about Yingying? How is she? Really, she's in a vegetative state. His mother snapped, her tone sharp and impatient. It was clear Xingyan didn't believe it. Her mother pursed her lips and called for the doctor. The doctor said with a grave expression, Miss Lu wasn't resuscitated in time, her brain was deprived of oxygen for too long, she has indeed fallen into a vegetative state. Xingyan's face was a mask of shock and disbelief, he simply couldn't accept it. How could Lu Yingying end up in a vegetative state just from a trip out to sea? I hurried over to console him. Xingyan, your aunt is right. You should be worrying about yourself right now. If you can't swim, you shouldn't go out to sea anymore. It's only thanks to the bodyguard your aunt arranged for you. He spotted you, pulled you out, and gave you first aid immediately. That's why you're alright. Xingyan's face was pale and his expression turned icy. The bodyguard, why didn't he save Yingying? His mother said coldly, Young Master Xing, you were the one who fell into the water. Of course everyone's attention was on you. Still not satisfied, do you want to end up a vegetable? Xingyan gave his mother a meaningful look and said nothing more. but I knew a knot had formed in his heart, just like you did to me in a past life. 4. Xingyan's mom got a call and had to leave for something, so she asked me to stay and look after him. I had just seen Xingyan's mom off and returned to find 4 people standing in his hospital room. Xingyan's voice, low and icy, cut through the air. Why didn't you save Ying? The 4 of them exchanged uneasy glances. I knew exactly what was going through their minds. It was the same look Xingyan had given me in my past life, right before I became a vegetable, when he'd asked me that very question. Oh, absolutely. Of course we should have saved Lu Ying first and just left him there. He's perfectly healthy now. Let's see if he'd still be so concerned about why no one saved Lu Ying first if he ended up crippled because of this. That kind of person would finally behave if they were disabled. I stepped forward and said, Xingyan, these are the bodyguards your aunt hired for you. Of course, their only concern is you. The bodyguards immediately nodded in agreement. Young master, we are only following the madam's orders. She instructed us to keep you safe above all else. As for that Miss Lu, one of the bodyguards muttered under his breath, you must know as well. The madam has never liked that Miss Lu. Xingyan's face was a mask of fury. Was he about to take it out on the bodyguard, just like he took it out on me in our past life? I sneered inwardly, then stepped forward to placate him. Xingyan, don't be angry. Auntie is your mother. She only wants what's best for you, no matter how upset you are. You can't really do anything to your own mother. Xingyan's expression faltered. He turned his head to look at me, gritted his teeth, and told those bodyguards to get out. The 4 bodyguards looked as if they'd been granted a reprieve. They glanced at me gratefully, bowed, and all filed out. Xingyan settled back into his seat and suddenly asked me, you weren't far from Ying and me back then, why didn't you help us? His face darkened again. I remember you were an excellent swimmer, trying to drag me into this mess again. I saw you and Ying being all lovey-dovey, so I didn't want to interrupt. I left a while ago. Xingyan looked at me silently for a moment, then suddenly laughed. Yiting, don't tell me you're jealous. A wave of sorrow welled up in my heart. It's so obvious to everyone that I have feelings for Xingyan. Even Lu Ying can see it, constantly provoking and flaunting it in front of me. How could Xingyan possibly be blind to it? He's known all along that I like him. That's why, in our past life, the moment Lu Ying went abroad, he proposed to me. He was absolutely certain I would say yes, but no matter how much I liked him, that was all in a past life. Meeting Xingyan's gaze, I let out a light laugh and patted his shoulder. Focus on getting better. Don't get ahead of yourself. Xingyan's expression faltered, a crack appearing in his composure. After all, something he was so sure of had just been proven wrong by me. And his confidence naturally wavered. What do you mean by that? I smiled faintly. I stayed to look after you out of respect for your mother, and besides, we are friends, but it seems you've misunderstood something. To avoid any unnecessary misunderstandings, and to keep Ms. Lu from getting the wrong idea about me, I think I'd better go now. I walked over to the sofa to pick up my bag. Behind me, Xingyan's voice sounded somewhat urgent. Xiaoyu, you. I turned around and gave him a gentle wave. Get some rest. Okay, bye. 5. After leaving the hospital, I hurried back to our family company and gave both my dad and mom a big hug. My parents both laughed. What's gotten into you today, kiddo? I took a deep breath, pushed down the complicated feelings in my heart, and said with a smile, oh, it's nothing. I just wanted to tell you, Mom, Dad, I love you. My parents exchanged a worried glance and asked, did something happen? Yes. Something very serious happened. In my past life, because of Xingyan, I was completely separated from my parents. In this life, I will absolutely not repeat the mistakes of the past. Mom, Dad, I'd like to intern at the company. That's great. The sooner you start interning, the sooner you'll get the hang of things. My dad chuckled. Once you can take over the company completely, your mom and I will retire and live it up. I laughed, feeling a warm glow inside. In the evening, I went home with my parents. After leaving the hospital, I had someone stationed there. That very night, I got a call. Xingyan's mother had already started making moves to send Lu Ying abroad. I told him to keep an eye on things for me and to call me the moment Lu Ying made a move. He agreed, and after hanging up, he sent me 2 photos. These were all taken when Xingyan stood by Lu Ying's hospital bed, gazing at her intently. I was a bit worried Lu Ying might break character and laugh. Fortunately, the next day I received a call saying Lu Ying was already being sent abroad. I rushed to the hospital immediately. Xingyan gave me a cold smile upon seeing me. What are you doing here? What's with the attitude? Who got on your bad side that you're taking it out on me? I snapped back, my own temper flaring. If coming to see you is such a crime, then I'll just leave. The moment I turned to go, Xing Yan got out of bed and stepped in front of me, blocking my path. His gaze lingered on my face for a long moment. A faint smile touched his lips before he said, "You've changed." I furrowed my brow. "What's it to you if I've changed or not? What's really going on with you? Why are you so upset all of a sudden?" Xing Yan's expression was tense. After a moment of silence, he spoke in a low voice. "My mother sent Ying abroad. She's already on her way to the airport." I feigned surprise. "Has Miss Lu woken up?" "No, sending her abroad is precisely for her treatment." I nodded in understanding. "I see," I said. "So, you can't bear to let her go." Upon hearing this, Xing Yan's deep gaze swept over my face a few more times, as if searching for something. I couldn't tell if he found what he was looking for, but he smiled again. "Yes," he said, "I can't bear to let her go." "Then why aren't you going after her?" I immediately went to grab his coat. "I'll drive you to the airport. If we go now, you can still see her one last time. She'll be able to hear you if you talk to her." Before Xing Yan could even react, I had already thrown the clothes at him. "Hurry up and change. If you dawdle any longer, we're really going to be late." 6. I went out to wait for him. Xing Yan changed quickly and came out, and I sped all the way to the airport. Phew, perfect timing. Lu Yingying was just about to board the plane. I pointed at Lu Yingying's figure and said, "Isn't that Lu Yingying?" Xing Yan stared at Lu Yingying, who was completely unharmed and walking upright, utterly astonished. It wasn't until I gave him a nudge that he strode over, grabbed her wrist, and pulled her into his arms. Then, the two of them launched into a scene straight out of a melodramatic soap opera. Xing Yan demanded in a low, grave voice, "Why did you lie to me?" Lu Yingying was flustered. Seemingly caught off guard by Xing Yan's sudden pursuit, she reacted swiftly, tears immediately welling up in her eyes. "I didn't want to either. But your mother doesn't approve of us being together. She told me to go to America and never come back. What else could I do?" Woo-woo. So they're pinning all the blame on Xing Yan's mother. Hearing this, Xing Yan pulled Lu Yingying into a tight embrace, and now they're back to being a pair of star-crossed lovers. I quietly slipped out and drove away. About 10 minutes later, my phone rang. It was Xing Yan. "Where are you?" I replied flatly, "Oh, I didn't want to interrupt you too, so I left first." Xing Yan, "Then how are we supposed to get back? Can't you hail a cab? You're a grown man. I'm not your mother. Do you need me to plan your wedding for you, too?" Hearing me say that, Xing Yan didn't get angry at all. In fact, he laughed. "All right, I was just asking. I'll get a taxi back myself. I'll treat you to a meal another day." "Thanks, no need for thanks. And I'm busy anyway, gotta go." It seems Xing Yan took Lu Yingying home and had a big blow-up with his mom. Anyway, it ended very badly. His mom didn't sound too happy when she called me. "Xiao Yu, why on earth did you take Xing Yan to the airport?" I didn't try to hide it. Xing Yan has feelings for Lu Yingying. I thought taking him to say a proper goodbye wouldn't be a bad thing. I had no idea Lu Yingying had woken up. Wait, wasn't she in a vegetative state? How is she awake again? My words acted like a fuse, igniting Xing Yan's mother's fury. That little vixen was perfectly fine the whole time, just putting on an act. I knew it from the start. I overheard the doctor telling her parents that the hospital couldn't go along with her pretending to be comatose. That's how I found out she can swim. But she just let Xing Yan drown. She nearly got him killed, and that son of mine, Xing Yan, is such a lovesick fool. I told him Lu Yingying was faking it and almost got him killed. But he's still dead set on being with that little vixen. I said in an offhand, soothing tone, "Auntie, don't be upset. Since Xing Yan truly loves Lu Yingying, why not just let them be together? It's not easy to find true love even once in a lifetime." After a pause, Xing Yan's mother spoke up urgently, "Xiao Yu, do you really not like Xing Yan anymore? Haven't you ever thought about fighting for him?" I gave a helpless laugh. "Auntie, whatever gave you the idea I liked him? My feelings for Xing Yan are purely platonic, I promise. After all, having been reborn, I know better than anyone that being love-struck never ends well." I continued to soothe her. "But Auntie, I do understand where you're coming from. If it were my child, I'd want the best for them too, but what can we do? Xing Yan has fallen for her. There's just no helping it." Xing Yan's mother snorted. "Who says there's no helping it? I won't allow it." I refused to believe my son would defy me. I agreed, saying, "That's true. After all, you're his mother. If he had to choose, he'd definitely pick you." 7. After hearing what I said, Xing Yan's mother indeed devoted all her energy to breaking up the star-crossed lovers, Xing Yan and Lu Yingying. But it backfired, only making Xing Yan more rebellious. We ran into each other at school on Monday. I could tell he looked a bit off, so I asked, concerned as a friend, "What's wrong?" "Miss Lu is fine, isn't she? You should be happy." Xing Yan looked into my eyes silently for a moment, then lowered his gaze, hiding the true emotions within. After a pause, he finally spoke. Ying was acting. I pretended to be shocked. Acting? You mean, she was never in any real trouble? No wonder the doctors said she was in a vegetative state, and then she just woke up all of a sudden. Xingyan was silent for another moment. And she can swim, she's really good at it. I drew a sharp breath. So that means, she could have saved you back then. Xingyan nodded. It seems that in his heart, not only towards his mother, but also towards Lu Yingying, a tiny crack has begun to form, but now is not the time. Perhaps it's just because she likes you too much. And she must have known someone would save you. That's why she didn't intervene. How could she possibly just stand by and watch you die? To be honest, I can tell that Miss Lu truly cares for you. After I finished speaking, the tension in Xingyan's expression eased a little. He looked at me again and let out a soft, derisive snort. So it seems you really don't like me anymore. I pressed my lips together. You still have the mind to think about that. Just focus on being with Miss Lu. The two of you will surely have many obstacles to overcome, so good luck. After a moment, Xingyan finally nodded. I know, I'll cherish Ying, but, I hesitated. Auntie will never agree to you being with Miss Lu, and Uncle won't either. What are you going to do? A slow smile spread across Xingyan's lips. Don't worry, I have a plan. If your aunt and uncle oppose you, you're not going to oppose them right back, are you? I said jokingly, and left before Xingyan could reply. After all, the seed has been sown. 8. And just like that, Xingyan and Lu Yingying officially became a couple. They were seen together everywhere on campus. Once I confirmed their relationship was progressing as I had planned, I stopped paying them any attention. What I need to do now is focus on my studies. Oh, right, there's one more person. Summer break is coming up soon. My time will be split between cram school and an internship at the family business, since I've been reborn. Of course I came back with a cheat ability. In my past life, Xingyan schemed against our family, causing our company to go bankrupt. To provoke me, he laid out every single detail of what he did to our family business. TSK, he actually did me a huge favor. In this life, I can make my moves ahead of time. When my parents saw my plan, they even made a point of inviting me to the meeting to present it myself. I know exactly what they're doing, they just want to show off. Even though these plans weren't originally mine, I earned them with my blood, sweat, and tears, so I have no qualms about using them. Besides, I'm no slouch myself. I was just a bit too love-struck in my past life and trusted Xingyan way too much. Now that I've ditched that lovesick mentality, I'm an absolute powerhouse. Xingyan's parents wanted him to do an internship at the company, but he flat out refused. His mother came to see me and complained. What did I do to deserve this in a past life? Is sending him for an internship at the company really such a bad thing? If he doesn't step up and show what he's made of now, he'll have no one to blame but himself when the company gets snatched away from him. I tried to reassure her. Auntie, please don't say that. You and Uncle only have the one son. The company will undoubtedly be Xingyan's one day. Xingyan's mother let out a cold snort. Xiao, you're not being straight with me. You know perfectly well what I'm worried about, don't you? And don't worry about sparing my feelings. It's not my fault. After all, I nodded. Exactly. How can it be the woman's fault when a man cheats? Auntie, have you ever met that child from the affair? I have. Xingyan's mother's brow furrowed deeply. She paused before continuing. That's precisely why I'm so worried. He's not one bit inferior to our Xingyan. She took my hand. Xiao, please help me talk some sense into Xingyan. He needs to break up with that little homewrecker immediately. I pretended to be hesitant, saying, he probably wouldn't listen to me anyway. Xingyan's mother fell silent, a flash of ruthlessness crossing her expression. But in the end, she didn't do anything, afraid of truly angering her son, so I had to add fuel to the fire. I had someone accidentally push Lu Yingying down the stairs. She only scraped her skin a little, then. While chatting with Xingyan, I deliberately made a wild guess. Was it really an accident? Could it be that Miss Lu offended someone? Xingyan's face darkened. I knew right then that my words had planted a seed of doubt in his mind. The people he began to suspect were none other than his own parents. Naturally, he went home and had a huge fight with his parents, no matter how much they denied it. He refused to believe them and ended up moving out. This infuriated Xingyan's mother, who called me again to complain and, as usual, asked me to talk some sense into him. I agreed on the spot, but then immediately went to find that illegitimate son, Xingyuan. How could I ever forget this person? 9. Xingyuan is a year younger than me and Xingyan. His school isn't far from mine. I met him at a social event a while back. We added each other on WeChat, but we never really kept in touch. So when I reached out to meet up, he was quite surprised. I'll get straight to the point. I came to you because I want to collaborate. I'll help you take everything in the Xing family from Xingyan. Xing Yuan looked at me with a smile, then suddenly leaned in. His voice was soft and deliberately affected. Sis, is this a case of you loving my brother but not being able to have him, so your love has turned to hate? Are all women this terrifying? I got goosebumps all over. Can you speak normally? Xing Yuan let out a laugh that felt as warm as sunshine. Of course he was better looking than Xingyan. His mother was a beauty. Why else would Xingyan's father have had an affair? Sis, Xing Yuan tilted his head, wearing that same infuriatingly innocent look. You want to team up with me against my brother, but how do I know you won't suddenly sell me out? After all, you're so fond of him. Honestly, the way he said it sent a chill down my spine. I'm not interested in him. My demeanor was cold, yet utterly serious. Xing Yuan didn't speak. He suddenly stood up, walked over, and sat down on the arm of my chair. My body stiffened slightly as I looked up at him. Xing Yuan looked into my eyes and slowly lowered his head. Sister, I'm not against working with you, but you'll have to offer me something in return. I raised an eyebrow. Helping you secure the entire Xing family. Isn't that benefit enough? A faint smile touched the corner of Xing Yuan's lips. Even without your help, I could take it for myself. I was well aware of that. In my past life, the conflict between Xingyan and Xing Yuan had already reached a boiling point before I became comatose. Xingyan is formidable. The fact that Xing Yuan can keep up with him so tenaciously proves he's no slouch either. If it weren't for him, Xingyan would have probably turned me into a vegetable long ago. That's why, after being reborn, I sought him out for a partnership. If I were on my own, who knows how long it would take to bring Xingyan down. I nodded and asked him, what's in it for you? Xing Yuan blinked. The way he was acting all innocent was actually kind of cute. Turns out I don't dislike green tea types, I just dislike it when they're not teasing me. You know what I want, sis, I can see it too. That little schemer has her eyes on me. Since when? At that mixer, you like me? I just came out and asked. Xing Yuan's eyes crinkled into a smile. You're so clever, sis. I reached up and patted his cheek. You're too green for my taste. Xing Yuan looked a bit put out. Xingyan is only a year older than me. And what makes you think I'm green? I was losing patience. Are you going to agree or not? Xing Yuan, I do have a plan B, you know. Xing Yuan, seeing how serious I looked. He dropped the whole seductive, manipulative act and went back to sit down properly. I agree, you could have said so sooner. 10. I know Xing Yuan's father didn't let him into the main company. Instead, he set up a subsidiary for him to cut his teeth on. Coincidentally, I also have a project to get my feet wet with right now. And it's the very same project Xingyan was working on in my past life. Xingyan was never going to be part of this project in this life. I sought out Xing Yuan in private and formed an alliance with him. As for Xingyan, in my past life he was already working at the company by now. In this life, however, he's holed up in a villa in the suburbs with Lu Yingying, inseparable as glue. I have his mother to thank for all of this. She'd complain to me at the slightest thing concerning Xingyan, yet in the past life, even after learning he drove my parents to their deaths, she still took his side. So now that she sees me as one of her own, it doesn't stir a single emotion in me. The project between Xing Yuan and me has always been kept low-key. His father is swamped with the parent company's affairs, and on top of that, Xingyan is causing him constant worry right now. He simply has no spare mind or energy to keep tabs on Xing Yuan. My parents are aware of it, but after hearing what I had to say about Xingyan, they naturally sided with me. Moreover, they can see that my ambitions are grand and that I have a keen interest in the entire Xingshi group, so my parents said, what else can we do but be your support system? That's a bit of a humble brag. In his past life, Xingyan's ambition was fueled by Lu Yingying becoming comatose and his hatred for me. In this lifetime, we're dating. However, he didn't forget about us, his circle of friends. He still hung out with us occasionally, though he never brought Lu Yingying along. Summer vacation was coming to an end, and school was about to start. That's when I got a call from Xingyan, asking me to hang out. When we met, Xingyan teased with a smile, look who finally decided to show up, Mr. Busy, what have you been up to all this time? Just an internship at the family company, I said flatly, taking a sip of my mango smoothie through the straw. Xingyan quietly studied my profile. I furrowed my brow, let go of the straw, and turned to look at him. What are you staring at? Xingyan gave a light chuckle. Can't I look? I think you're pretty. I raised an eyebrow. I've always been good-looking. I never noticed before, but it suddenly seems like you've become more attractive than you used to be. Xingyan looked into my eyes, his expression completely serious. A wave of disgust washed over me. Aren't you worried your girlfriend will hear and get jealous? Xingyan lowered his gaze. picked up a bottle of liquor, and downed it in one go. 11. School will be starting again soon. At school, Xingyan and Lu Yingying remained inseparable, as loving as ever, only, whenever he happened to run into me, Xingyan would always look at me with an indescribable, inscrutable expression. Lu Yingying had noticed it too, so she came to find me. Yi Tingyu, Xingyan is my boyfriend, stay away from him. Her bossy tone made me laugh. Have you ever seen anyone try to snatch a steamed bun from a dog's mouth? Lu Yingying frowned. What do you mean by that? It means, I drew out the words, then continued, I'm not going to steal your bun, so relax. Only then did Lu Yingying realize I was calling her a dog. She raised her hand to hit me. I seized her wrist, flung her hand away, and immediately followed up with a sharp slap across her face. If she hadn't pretended to be a vegetable in my past life, Xingyan wouldn't have driven me to ruin and destroyed my family. Giving her a little lesson is only what she deserves. Go back and ask Xingyan if he dares lay a finger on me now. I sneered. Know your place. I'm not someone you can afford to mess with. From now on, you'd better walk the other way when you see me. Lu Yingying glanced behind me and suddenly burst into tears, sensing something. I turned around to see Xingyan striding over. What happened? Xingyan asked me in a low voice, pulling Lu Yingying into his arms, nestled in Xingyan's embrace. Lu Yingying wept pitifully. Please don't blame Miss Shi. I'm sure she didn't mean to hit me. I let out a snort of laughter and warned Xingyan, keep your girlfriend in check. I told you, I have no interest in the bun that's already been in the dog's mouth. Tell her to rest easy. Xingyan paused for a split second before catching on. He pressed his lips together in resignation. What are you talking about? You should go. I coldly averted my gaze and turned to leave. From behind me came Lu Yingying's muffled, tearful sobs. Why won't you stand up for me? Xingyan, I'm your girlfriend. Xingyan, Xiaoyu is my friend. Besides, did you provoke her? Why else would she hit you for no reason? Lu Yingying's voice turned shrill. What do you mean by that? You think it's my fault? Xingyan's voice lowered. Enough, drop it, Lu Yingying shrieked. No, you explain yourself right now. What exactly do you mean? You saw her hit me with your own eyes. Why didn't you stand up for me? Xingyan, are you even a man? Shut up, Xingyan growled. You know exactly what kind of person you are. You can swim, so why did you pretend to drown back then? How dare you, with all your scheming, point fingers at others. I just wanted to be with you, so, you're not exactly an innocent little girl either. How can you say that about me? I quickened my pace and left. My phone rang. It was Xingyuan calling to discuss the project. 12. Xingyuan and I wrapped up our project smoothly by the end of the year. That's when his father found out he was working with me and had even made a tidy sum. He was over the moon and specially took Xingyuan out to treat me and my parents to a meal. My parents heaped praise on Xingyuan, and all throughout, Xingyuan's father was hinting at setting the two of us up. On the way home after dinner, my parents asked me, do you like Xingyuan? It's not like the Xing family is the only one in the world. Xingyan is that kind of person. Xingyuan shares half his blood. How could I possibly like Xingyuan? My parents nodded, reassured. The reason I'm working with Xingyuan is that he can help me deal with Xingyan. But of course, I've kept an ace up my sleeve. Otherwise, if Xingyuan ever breaks free from my control, he could turn into a beast and bite back. For now, though, we're allies, and our partnership remains solid. It's Xingyan and Lu Yingying whose rift seems to be growing wider by the day. Did Xingyan ever truly love Lu Yingying? His greatest love was always himself. In his past life, when he sought revenge for her, he was merely moved by his own self-perceived depth of feeling, commonly known as self-gratification. In this life, he got his wish and ended up with Lu Yingying. Yet, after being together, he found fault with her at every turn and started remembering how good I was. Men, in the end, the white moonlight and the cinnabar mole always turn into grains of plain rice and specks of mosquito blood. What a fool. After just over half a year, Xingyan had already lost patience with Lu Yingying and broke up with her outright. With the new year approaching and the company's annual dinner coming up, I've been swamped at work every day lately. That's exactly when Xingyan came looking for me. Xiaoyu, I broke up with Lu Yingying. I raised an eyebrow but said nothing. He looked at me with deep affection. Lu Yingying and I, we're just from different worlds. We could never make it work. It's only now I realize that the person who's truly right for me is you. He took a deep breath, gripping my shoulders. Yi Tingyu, listen to me. I like you. I may have taken a few wrong turns, but I've finally come to understand my own heart. So, Yi Tingyu, will you be my girlfriend? Fighting back a wave of disgust, I brushed his hand away. You'd better not. Yi Tingyu. Lu Yingying's shrill voice suddenly rang out. I turned toward the sound and saw Lu Yingying charging at me with a vicious expression. I knew it. "You're the one who seduced Xingyan, you homewrecker, you bitch." She came at me, claws out and ready to fight. Xingyan stepped in to stop her. The security guard at the company in trance immediately rushed over upon seeing the commotion. Amidst the chaos, Lu Yingying transformed into a warrior, yanked the baton from the guard, and without even turning it on, brought it down hard on Xingyan's head. She nearly cracked his skull open. Lu Yingying was subdued, while Xingyan was rushed to the hospital. 13. Lu Yingying was detained for intentional assault. Xingyan was fine and was discharged from the hospital that very night, or perhaps he insisted on being discharged. He came to see me with his head still bandaged. Just as I was about to get in the car, he rushed over, pulled me into his arms, and held me so tightly it was as if he wanted to press me into his very bones. "Xiaoyu, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." I pushed him away. "What are you doing?" It all came back to me. Xingyan wept bitterly. "Now I understand why you turned against me so suddenly. It's because, for Lu Yingying's sake, I ruined your family and destroyed your life. I'm a monster. Xiaoyu, please give me another chance, won't you?" "I regret it. I truly regret it." I stared at Xingyan in stunned disbelief. He had actually regained the memories from his past life. Xingyan sobbed. "Xiaoyu, let's start over, please. I really do love you." I shoved him away with force. "Get lost." Since he remembered, there was no point in me pretending anymore. "Xingyan, you make me sick." I quickly got in the car and drove off, with Xingyan chasing after me for a long time. I took out my phone and called Xingyuan. "It's time to close the net." 14. The project Xingyuan and I worked on made it into their parent company's annual report, combined with my family's backing. His father has already begun grooming him as the successor. As for Xingyan, it's clear he's already been cast aside. As for Lu Yingying, she was released after being detained for 7 days. After her release, she went to find Xingyan, only to be met with a single word from him: "Get lost," at the year-end banquet. Xingyuan's father formally introduced him into social circles, sending a clear signal to the outside world that Xingyuan was the future successor of the Xingshi group. I raised my glass to congratulate Xingyuan, and that was precisely when Xingyan arrived. He came straight up to me and grabbed my wrist. "So, the reason you changed your mind is because you've fallen for him, is that it?" Xingyuan stepped in front of me, pushing Xingyan's hand away. "Please, show some, damn you." Xingyan's fist connected with Xingyuan's face. The banquet hall instantly descended into chaos. In the end, it was Mr. Xing who pulled the two apart. Pointing at Xingyan, he roared, "Get out of here. Don't you dare make a scene." Xingyan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and looked back at me. "I'll make you see who's truly worthy of your love. Neither of them is worthy of my love." Xingyan started pursuing me. He's completely love-struck, a total romantic at heart. Even better, I continued my collaboration with Xingyuan, and the project started running more and more smoothly. I always knew Xingyuan was no pushover. He's a beast. After solidifying his position in the Xing family, he methodically drove Xingyan out. Step by step, Xingyan lost his inheritance rights to the Xing family fortune and his father's trust. You could say he was left with nothing. Lu Yingying tried to hold on to him at first, but once she saw he had nothing left, she set her sights on Xingyuan instead. So, at the banquet where Mr. Xing officially announced Xingyuan as his successor, I managed to get an invitation for Lu Yingying as well. The moment Lu Yingying arrived, she latched onto Xingyuan. This scene happened to be witnessed by Xingyan, who had just arrived. Even though he had lost his inheritance rights and been kicked out of the house, he was still a member of the Xing family. His father, of course, couldn't truly disown him. As long as he played the part of the idle, spoiled young master, the Xing family would still keep a roof over his head. But then he had to witness Lu Yingying seducing Xingyuan. The fire in his eyes ignited instantly. "You bitch!" Xingyan stormed over, grabbed Lu Yingying by the hair, and flung her to the ground. "It's all your fault I lost everything, you whore." Lu Yingying was pinned beneath him, taking punch after punch. Just as it seemed she might be beaten to death, the onlookers finally managed to pull Xingyan off her. Lu Yingying struggled to her feet and staggered out, her vision blurred by blood. As she reached the staircase, her footing gave way, and she tumbled down the long flight of stairs. 15. 3 days later, I received news about Lu Yingying. She had suffered a severe head injury and had truly become vegetative. Xingyan was consequently taken into custody. This news was brought to me by Xingyuan. He raised his glass of red wine in my direction. "Let's celebrate," he said. "We are the ultimate victors." I raised my glass to clink with his, took a small sip, then set it down and stood up. "All right, you drink up. I'm heading off first." The moment I turned around, Xingyuan's voice came from behind me. "Will you agree to it now?" I smiled, turning back. I told you, I don't go for the young ones. As long as Xingyuan behaves himself and doesn't cause any trouble, I'm still willing to work with him. As for Xingyan, a prison sentence is waiting for him. Once he's out, I won't even need to lift a finger. Xingyuan will take care of him. Stepping out of the wine cellar, I took a deep breath and looked up at the blazing sun overhead. A smile touched my lips as I got in the car, driving onward into the sun. Story 2. I had a dream. In my past life, Xingke and I were married. We spent our entire lives together, passing away in our 80s, truly growing old side by side. Now, I gaze at the sleeping figure by my bedside, Lin Shangchuan, my husband in this lifetime. Also Xingke's best friend and business partner. I remember a year ago, when I was supposed to meet Xingke for a blind date, he introduced me to his friend instead. Waking from the dream, my memories returned to that moment a year ago. Back then, I had just graduated and became a greenhorn middle school Chinese teacher. As everyone knows, female teachers are considered one of the most marriageable professions. Shortly after passing probation, the enthusiastic grade-level dean started arranging blind dates for me upon learning I was single. The dean assured me the guy was outstanding in every aspect. That's my own nephew, top university graduate, tall with great proportions and handsome looks. Right after graduation, he co-founded a company with classmates, talented and capable, truly the cream of the crop. Xiao sang, after getting to know you these past months, I've realized you're not just beautiful but also gentle, polite, and an exceptional teacher. That's why I thought of introducing you to our family. Our Xingke has extremely high standards. I wouldn't dare arrange blind dates for him lightly. It's just that you're too outstanding. I simply can't bear watching someone else sweep you away. I'd regret it so much I'd lose sleep. Do me this favor. Just meet him once. If he's not your type, say so directly, and I'll drop the matter for good. Fresh out of college and still awkward with rejections, I could only grit my teeth and nod in agreement. Director Zhang's nephew Xingke added me on WeChat. He politely greeted me, introduced himself, and asked if I had any preferences for the meeting location. To keep things simple, I chose a restaurant near campus as our meeting spot. The meetup turned out to be rather awkward. When I arrived at the reserved private room, I was surprised to find 3 people already seated inside. 2 handsome gentlemen and a radiantly beautiful young woman. The man on the left wore a crisp shirt with dress pants, exuding refined elegance. The man on the right sported a close-cropped haircut with an untamed, rebellious air. My steps faltered as I gazed at the man on the right, uncertain whether to approach. I recognized him immediately. It was Xingke. Director Zhang had shown me his photo before, but right now, this Mr. Zhang, who's on a blind date with me, had his arm draped over the shoulder of that pretty girl beside him. The girl was nestling against him, their intimate body language making their unusual relationship obvious. I'm completely baffled. Xingke clearly has a girlfriend, so why did he agree to this blind date with me? And what's with bringing both his girlfriend and another guy to our date? What kind of game is this? I felt deeply offended and was about to walk away in anger. Miss Sangiru, would you give me a chance to explain? A voice came from behind me. I turned around to see Xingke stand up, approach me, and bow deeply. First, I sincerely apologize. Please believe I wasn't playing games with you. I approached this blind date with complete sincerity. However, the actual candidate isn't me. It's my friend Lin Shangchuan here. He gestured toward the formally dressed man beside him. I'm generally even-tempered and rarely get angry. Seeing his genuine sincerity, I patiently listened to his explanation. 2. Xingke told me he has a girlfriend now, and he's already informed his aunt, Director Zhang. But Director Zhang insists it's just an excuse he made up to avoid blind dates. Even after he posted a couple photo with his girlfriend, Director Zhang still wouldn't believe him. Honestly, I can't blame my aunt, Xingke said with a bitter smile. I once lied about having a girlfriend to dodge her matchmaking arrangements, even photoshopped a random internet picture. Now that I actually have one, she won't buy it. He introduced me to Lin Shangchuan, his college roommate, best buddy, and now business partner. He said Lin was way more accomplished than him, completely devoted to studies in college and never been in a relationship. That day when his aunt sent over my photo, he was about to turn her down again until Lin spotted it beside him. Lin claimed it was love at first sight and begged him to introduce us. Love at first sight. I glanced skeptically at the gentleman seated across from me. The tips of his ears turned pink under my gaze. After a moment's hesitation, he mustered his courage and rose to bow in my direction. Miss Sangiru, I apologize for approaching you so abruptly, but I genuinely wanted to meet you. Would you give me a chance to pursue you? I stood there dumbfounded, completely at a loss. When I snapped out of it, I turned and bolted. I chickened out, honestly had no idea how to handle that situation, as I recklessly dashed to the roadside. A speeding motorcycle came barreling toward me, my body froze, completely paralyzed. Just as the bike was about to hit me, an unseen force shoved me aside. I turned to see Lin Shangchuan's face contorted in pain. A deep gash ran down his arm from the motorcycle accident, blood gushing out. In a panic, I rushed him to the hospital. Watching the doctor dress the wound made me wince in sympathy pain, clenching through the agony. He reassured me in a gentle voice, "It's nothing serious. Just a flesh wound, it'll heal soon." The tenderness overflowing from his eyes made me believe, just for that moment, that his love at first sight might have been genuine. After all, few would risk their own safety to save someone they'd only met once. In that critical moment today, Lin Shangchuan's instinctive push was purely reflexive. That he only suffered an arm injury was sheer luck. I could tell he genuinely cared about me. 3. After someone saved your life once. It's hard to keep acting like strangers. Lin Shangchuan and I exchanged contact information. After that day, Lin Shangchuan started courting me in earnest. Every morning, he'd buy breakfast and wait for me downstairs, then drive me to work at school. Come evening, he'd be right on time at the campus gate to take me home. Throughout the day, he'd randomly text me jokes and casually update me about his schedule, never minding whether I replied or not. Honestly, it's hard for any single woman not to be swayed when pursued by an exceptional man, especially when someone like Lin Shangchuan is clearly in a league of his own. He's strikingly handsome, a graduate from a prestigious university, and incredibly knowledgeable. The startup he co-founded with classmates is already turning a profit and on the right track. A true young achiever. He's also courteous, gentle, and remarkably considerate. No matter the topic, he always keeps the conversation flowing. Being with him feels like a gentle spring breeze, comfortable and completely at ease. What truly made me decide to accept his courtship was the day my grandfather suddenly fell ill. My grandfather collapsed unexpectedly, and I was having dinner with Lin Shangchuan when my mom called. On the way home, he kept comforting me the entire time. We arrived home at the same time as the ambulance, and he accompanied me to the hospital. During Grandpa's hospital stay, he visited regularly, helping him from bed to wheelchair, then taking him for walks in the garden downstairs. Though Grandpa's hearing was poor, he'd always listen patiently to every word. By discharge day, Grandpa was affectionately calling him Xiachuan. Just like that, Lin Shangchuan and I became a couple. Our relationship blossomed beautifully, filling me with growing romantic bliss. Whenever I come across something fun or interesting, I can't help but share it with him. Even though we see each other almost daily, my heart still flutters every morning knowing he's waiting downstairs. Even during my lunch break, I couldn't resist calling him just to hear his voice. We'd just said goodbye downstairs at night, yet started video chatting the moment I got back to my room until bedtime. I finally understood what "missing you the moment we part" truly means. When shopping with friends, I'd pause at men's clothing stores to browse for stylish pieces. Having someone new in my life didn't feel abrupt at all, just wonderfully sweet. 4. Lin Shangchuan and I got married within a year of meeting. It didn't feel rushed, more like everything naturally fell into place. His parents adore me, and my whole family absolutely loves him. On New Year's Day, he orchestrated an elaborate proposal with the help of my closest friends and family. I said yes without a moment's hesitation. Both our families and friends were thrilled and gave us their heartfelt blessings, including director Jing and Jingku. On the day of the proposal, Jingku showed up too, with a different girlfriend than the one I'd seen before. When director Jing heard I was marrying Lin Shangchuan, she spent the whole day sighing and cursing her nephew for being a blind fool to let such a good catch slip away. Still, she sincerely congratulated me, admitting Lin Shangchuan was truly exceptional. Just that Jingku wasn't fortunate enough. Lin Shangchuan and I walked into marriage's embrace while still intoxicated by the fervor of new love. After marriage, we got along wonderfully and never had a single argument. Our passionate love didn't fade after tying the knot. It simply transformed into countless tender moments in our daily companionship. Whenever we had differing opinions, Lin Shangchuan would always yield to me without hesitation. One evening after dinner, I insisted on going out for a walk. Lin Shangchuan checked the weather forecast and said it's likely to rain soon, but I'd eaten too much that day and insisted on going out, arguing that the sky was perfectly clear with no chance of rain. Lin didn't press the argument further, just asked gently, that eager to go out. I nodded like a bobblehead. "All right, I'll go out with you," he said, patting my head. We'd only been outside for half an hour when lightning flashed and thunder roared, followed instantly by a downpour. Lin Shangchuan quickly pulled a black folding umbrella from his backpack, opened it, and wrapped an arm around me as we hurried back. When we got home, seeing his completely soaked back filled me with remorse. Be a good girl and go take a hot shower first, don't catch a cold. He nudged me toward the bathroom. I'll get your pajamas for you. I sniffled. Lin Shangchuan. Why aren't you scolding me? It was my fault. I was being stubborn, ignored your advice, insisted on going out, and got you soaked. You were completely right, so why not take this chance to lecture me? He pinched my nose playfully. What's the big deal? Besides, I brought an umbrella. I had it all planned out. Not a single drop would have touched you. Sometimes I wonder if I saved Lin Shangchuan's life in a past existence. That's the only explanation for him treating me this well. 5. As my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I could clearly make out the face beside me. Lin Shangchuan had thick eyebrows and a straight nose, and his eyes, those beautiful, round black pupils, shone like dark grapes. I wonder if our future child would inherit these fine features of his. Our child. It suddenly dawned on me. Today I took leave for a hospital checkup. I'm 28 days pregnant. I'm pregnant. Lin Shangchuan and I are having a baby. In my dream, chaotic memories from my past life clouded my thoughts. It completely slipped my mind, something this important. I remember how thrilled I was when I got the test results that afternoon, but when Lin Shangchuan came to pick me up after work, I had to suppress my excitement. Because his birthday was just 2 days away, I wanted to save this wonderful news as his special birthday surprise. Memories of my past life surfaced unbidden. That lifetime when I married Jingku, we also had a child together. A son. He grew up under our devoted care and eventually took over his father's business. The year Jingku and I passed away, our grandson was in high school. By any measure, our previous life could truly be called blessed and fulfilling. The reason I'm inclined to believe this dream was my past life is its remarkable completeness. It unfolded my entire existence before me. What's more, countless life details remain vividly clear, as if I'd truly lived through them myself. The dream felt utterly real. From my blind date with Jingku to our courtship, marriage, and growing old together, it all resonated as my own lived experience. I refused to accept this was merely some bizarre, nonsensical dream. No dream could ever be this vivid, down to the exact furniture arrangement in Jingku's and my home, the precise number, make, color, and license plates of our cars, down to the year our son was born. His name, even his appearance. No dream holds such minute detail. So if that truly was my past life, why is this existence so completely different? Why didn't my blind date with Jingku work out? How did I end up marrying Lin Shangchuan instead? After much contemplation, there's only one possible explanation. One of them must be a reincarnated soul, carrying memories from a past life. That person took action during our blind date, derailing fate's original course and setting destiny's wheels in motion. The trajectories of our 3 lives were forever altered. Can't sleep, insomnia. Just then, the person beside me opened their eyes. 6. I've always thought Lin Shangchuan was a light sleeper. The slightest disturbance would wake him. Every time I get up to use the bathroom at night or even just roll over, he wakes up too. Right now, he wraps his arm around me tightly, his warm breath brushing against my neck. That familiar sense of intimacy and security. I couldn't help but relax. No, I just had a dream and woke up. Bad dream? He asked. Not exactly. I mused. Just a very long, vivid dream. Gently stroking my hair, he said softly, go back to sleep now. You've got 4 back-to-back classes tomorrow morning. That'll drain your energy. He knew my schedule better than I did. I can't help but compare. Was Jingku this good to me in our past life too? Seems not. Except for those first few passionate years when we fell in love. After marriage, we gradually settled into routine. Jingku has a rather chauvinistic streak and never lifts a finger around the house. Fortunately, after his company took off, his net worth skyrocketed. Since we got married, we've always had live-in help, so household chores never became a point of contention between us. We typically focus on our own work during the day and share dinner together in the evenings. As a middle school teacher, my salary wasn't high, but he never asked me to quit and become a full-time homemaker. I stayed in my position until retirement. Over the years of marriage, our relationship gradually mellowed into comfortable routine. Ironically, it was in our later years that we spent more time together, sharing a heartwarming companionship forged through life's ups and downs. I remember that in his final year, we still often held hands while taking walks together. Jingku wasn't the romantic type. He didn't even propose properly. After 2 years of dating, we casually decided to get married over a meal and registered our marriage the very next day. He never gave me thoughtfully prepared gifts either, just the standard bouquet of roses and designer bag combo for Valentine's and anniversaries. After a few years of marriage, we became an old married couple. No more gifts, no more celebrating anniversaries. Luckily, I never cared much about ceremonial gestures. I believe life doesn't need to be fancy, simple and steady is what matters. I never made a fuss about gifts with him either. Lin Shangchuan was completely different in this regard. He placed great importance on rituals and ceremonies. He single-handedly planned our wedding, pouring his heart into every detail. He secretly learned the dance routine from my favorite boy band and performed it with friends as a wedding surprise. I used to think I didn't care about ceremonial gestures or surprises. Yet every little romantic surprise he creates still makes me genuinely happy. His sincerity touched me deeply, and I couldn't help but be moved by his thoughtfulness and devotion. Nestled in Lin Shangchuan's arms, listening to our synchronized heartbeats, I suddenly found myself letting go of all grievances. I no longer cared to unravel who had altered the course of this lifetime. 7. Whoever quietly turned the gears of fate, changing the destinies of us three, it no longer mattered. So what if I know? If it's Xingku? Then perhaps the happiness I felt in our past life was just my wishful thinking. This time around, he doesn't want to share a life with me. Then I'll respect his choice and let go, with no hard feelings. If it's Lin Shangchuan, he might have harbored unusual feelings for me in our past life, only he hid them exceptionally well. He's been so incredibly good to me in this lifetime, making me feel truly loved. What reason could I possibly have to blame him? My mother once described my personality as deceptively gentle and soft-spoken, with a quiet demeanor that makes people want to protect me, but in truth, I'm resilient, adaptable, and thrive wherever life takes me, a true survivor at heart. Perhaps it's my innate instinct for self-preservation, but I'm perfectly content with my current life, wrapped in this cocoon of security I'd never want to disrupt. That's it. I've made up my mind. Let bygones be bygones. If I had to relive my previous life exactly the same way, I wouldn't mind either. But since things have turned out this way with a fresh start, experiencing a different life wouldn't be so bad. 2 days later would be Lin Shangchuan's birthday. That evening, I left work early and prepared a lavish dinner with my aunt. When Lin Shangchuan walked in and saw the table full of dishes and cake, he hugged me with a smile. Wow, you went all out. Of course, I replied with a laugh. I know how much you care about ceremony. If I didn't put in the effort, you'd get upset again. Nonsense. Do I really seem that petty to you? He still refused to admit it. I chuckled. Wonder who it was. On his birthday, when his wife worked late and missed dinner, he didn't say a word but sulked the whole next day. Definitely not me. Absolutely not me, he said with deadpan seriousness. After dinner, Lin Shangchuan made a wish, blew out the candles, and we shared a slice of cake. Pulling me onto the living room couch, he cleared his throat twice. Ahem, seems like someone forgot something. Got it, I chuckled. Wait right there, I'll go get your present. I carefully placed the ultrasound report in an exquisite gift box, hid it behind my back, and slowly walked to the living room. Just as I was about to hand it to Lin Shangchuan, I noticed him staring blankly at the dessert tray on the coffee table. What's this? He asked with a dazed expression. Oh, cranberry cookies. I bought these online. They're really good. Want to try one? This was my absolute favorite snack in my past life, from this niche little brand. Suddenly remembered them yesterday morning, looked it up online and placed an order on a whim. Didn't expect them to arrive this fast. Lin Shangchuan took a cookie and tried it. These are delicious. Forget the snacks. Check out what I got you. I handed him the gift box. And there he was, still spacing out at a time like this. I frowned. Lin Shangchuan, don't tell me you don't want this gift. Huh, oh. He took the present and began unwrapping it slowly. When he saw the paper inside, confusion first crossed his face, then his pupils gradually dilated before he suddenly looked straight at me. Iru, this, you, really? He stumbled over his words, completely tongue-tied. I smiled and nodded. Lin Shangchuan, you're going to be a dad, happy. He suddenly scooped me up, spun me around, then held me tightly in his arms after setting me down. Thank you, Iru, I'm so happy. This is the best birthday gift I've ever received. His voice choked with emotion. Then I felt scalding tears drop onto the nape of my neck. Lin Shangchuan, are you crying? Seriously, you're such a softie. I tried to lift my head to look at him, but he only tightened his arms around me, refusing to let me move. Yeah, I'm just overwhelmed, Iru. I promise I'll be the best father I can be. His voice trembled. 8. Throughout the pregnancy, Lin Shangchuan treated me like fragile porcelain, being overly cautious. During the 3rd trimester when my belly grew too large, he hesitantly asked if I could take maternity leave early. I refused. The semester was nearly over. and it wouldn't be fair to suddenly replace teachers for multiple classes at this stage. On one hand, the school couldn't make proper arrangements, and on the other, I didn't want to be irresponsible toward my students. Lin Shangchuan respected my decision, though he started waiting outside the school daily, worried I might go into labor at any moment. Perhaps because one of them had been reborn, their joint venture grew much faster this lifetime than in their previous one. The blockbuster game that launched their company was originally slated for development 2 years later, but it hit the market 2 years early, just 6 months ago, just like before. The game sold like hotcakes the moment it launched. Their company is already preparing for IPO now, which is faster progress than in our previous life. So when I told Lin Shangchuan to relax and go back to work, he smugly informed me he's the boss who answers to nobody, and that he's made enough for us to retire comfortably. The delivery didn't go smoothly. After over 20 hours of labor, I finally gave birth to our daughter. The pain lasted so long that I screamed myself hoarse. When I walked out of the delivery room and saw Lin Shangchuan, tears streamed down my face. He kissed my hand tenderly with a choked voice. "Don't cry, love, we're never doing this again, no more suffering." At our daughter's full moon celebration, Xingku wouldn't let go of her, insisting on becoming her godfather. Seeing how enamored he was, someone teased, "If you like it that much, hurry up and get married to have one yourself." Xingku pulled the girl closer with a mischievous grin. "Let's go make a baby." The girl blushed furiously. "You're awful." The girl by Xingku's side had changed again. Ever since I met him in this lifetime, he's been cycling through girlfriends non-stop. I've lost count of how many girlfriends he's had by now. The girls were all different types, some radiant and outgoing, others fiery and passionate, a few shy and reserved, and some elegantly poised. The only common thread was their striking beauty, each one a head-turning stunner by anyone's standards. There was even a period when he maintained relationships with 2 women simultaneously, both fully aware of each other's existence and tacitly accepting this arrangement. Xingku really knew how to live. This was practically the epitome of a playboy's paradise. This Xingku was completely different from the one I remembered. In his past life, Xingku had been universally regarded as the perfect husband, handsome and wealthy with billions to his name. He's never been involved in any scandals and remained devoted to his wife till old age. In all those online polls about the most desirable husband material, Xingku always tops the list. I can't quite figure it out. Does reincarnation actually change someone's personality? But I haven't changed at all. My personality, interests, habits, and abilities feel nearly identical to my previous life. Even the cranberry cookies I loved in my past life, I still adore them just the same. But why have Xingku and Lin Shangchuan become completely different from their past selves? When it comes to love, their attitudes seem to have swapped. In our previous lives, Lin Shangchuan was the playboy everyone knew him to be. He never married, yet had countless romantic encounters throughout his life, a natural romantic with lavish generosity. He effortlessly charmed women with grand gestures, chartering yachts for birthdays, whisking lovers away to see the northern lights, even plastering subway walls with love declarations. Women adored him to distraction, remembering him fondly after breakups without uttering a single word against him, a true Casanova who walked through gardens of blossoms without a petal clinging to him. Lin Shangchuan and Xingku co-founded a company called Shenko Games. Back then, they were dubbed the Shenko Duo and generated massive buzz online. Their popularity rivaled A-list male celebrities, each commanding a sizable female fanbase. But now, the tables have completely turned. 9. Sometimes I think, had I dreamed about my past life earlier, before marrying Lin Shangchuan or developing deep feelings for him, I might never have chosen to be with him. To protect myself, I'll stay away from both of them and cut all ties for good. But when memories of my past life surfaced, I was already married and expecting. My whirlwind romance and marriage with Lin Shangchuan were completely real. He's nothing like his past self, no playboy antics or revolving door of girlfriends. He was practically a saint when it came to women. I was the only young female presence in his life. His affection for me was something I could feel in my bones. Every fiber of my being told me this was true happiness, and I wanted nothing more than to keep living this way. The year our daughter Xiaoxing turned 3, Xingku began very publicly courting a famous actress. He showered her with resources and investments, spending money without batting an eye. No starlet could resist such devotion. 6 months later, they tied the knot in a lavish wedding that dominated trending lists for over a month. I remember that actress from my past life too. She once endorsed a game developed by Shankha. She even performed a song on stage at one of Shankha's annual galas. After that endorsement contract expired, it wasn't renewed, and she simply lost contact with Shankha. I'm absolutely certain there was nothing beyond a professional relationship between Jingku and her. At this thought, some related memories surfaced. It suddenly dawned on me that in his previous life, Lin Shangchuan had apparently dated a celebrity girlfriend. Back then, tons of netizens were shipping him with that rising starlet. Watching Lin Shangchuan sitting on the floor building blocks with his daughter, I casually asked, "Aren't you even a little jealous of Jingku?" He looked up with an innocent expression. "Jealous of what? I've got everything he has, plus things he doesn't. But his wife's a huge celebrity, that's major bragging rights, and before marriage, he dated so many gorgeous girls. Isn't that every man's dream life? I couldn't care less about their dreams. Mine is simply growing old happily with my wife," he said with its under a huff. "Do you know what people are saying about you online?" I asked. That you married too young, what a waste." "No, marrying you young is my greatest honor." His gaze held such tenderness that I nearly drowned in it. 10. Jingke got divorced 3 years after his marriage. The reason was his inability to resist fooling around, which his wife eventually discovered. They fought constantly for months before finally ending in divorce. After becoming single again, Jingke threw a party to celebrate. He told Lin Shangchuan that despite trying marriage once, he still found bachelorhood the happiest. He declared, "I revel in the high life, long live freedom." But his newfound freedom was short-lived. Jingke collapsed again soon after, hospitalized with a stomach perforation from consecutive days of heavy drinking and long-term irregular eating habits. When visiting him at the hospital with Lin Shangchuan, I brought a thermos filled with nourishing congee. We have a housekeeper who cooks, so my culinary skills are just average, though I do enjoy making soups and congee in my free time. My specialty is nourishing congee, light yet flavorful, and gentle on the stomach. On early evenings or weekends, I often prepare homemade nourishing congee for my family. Lin Shangchuan and his daughter were such sweethearts. Complementing my cooking skills between bites, I learned this nourishing congee recipe from my mom. Even in my past life, I loved making it. Jingke did me the honor of finishing the entire big bowl of congee I brought him. "Sis, this congee is absolutely delicious. My doctor advised me to eat lighter meals. Would you mind teaching our housekeeper how to make it?" he asked me. "No problem at all. Just give me your aunt's contact info." Shortly after being discharged from the hospital, Jingke suddenly moved into the villa across from our house. Rumor has it he paid twice the market price to buy the villa from the previous owners. After moving in, he started dropping by our place for free meals quite often. After he came over for dinner 4 days in a row, Lin Shangchuan finally lost his temper. "Jingke, what's your problem? Don't you have your own place? Ever heard of being a third wheel? Where are your manners?" Jingke sipped his porridge leisurely. "Doctor's orders. I need to take better care of my stomach and eat on schedule. Who's stopping you? Doesn't your housekeeper cook for you?" Lin Shangchuan snapped. Jingke remained unhurried, "But eating alone feels so dreary. I can't bring myself to take a single bite. What's so hard about finding dinner company? Just snap your fingers and a line of beauties would queue up. Since when do you lack dining partners? For years of college camaraderie. Business partners after graduation. Brothers for over a decade. Now that you've got a wife and kid, your life's complete, so you're ditching this lonely bachelor." Jingke shook his head with a sigh. "The world's heartless indeed. Adversity truly reveals who's real." Lin Shangchuan kicked him. "You done whining yet?" "I don't care. I'm mooching off your meals until my stomach fully recovers," Jingke declared shamelessly. 11. Every evening after work, Jingke would clock in at my place like clockwork. Then drag Lin Shangchuan out for post-dinner walks. He's genuinely changed. No more girlfriends, no more nightly debauchery. His excuse, too old for this wild lifestyle. Jingke has lived across from us for years. As Lin Shangchuan puts it, the guy has zero sense of boundaries, treating our place like his own with shameless audacity. But his affection for little Star is genuine. He spoils her rotten, giving in to her every whim without principles or limits, more indulgent than her own father. He even joked about leaving his Shanka shares to little Star since he has no children, so she'd inherit the company outright, though we all took it as one of his usual quips. Though childless, he wasn't without family. Besides, little Star will inherit enough wealth to live comfortably for life. She has no need for others' money. Little Star has always excelled academically, and we've placed equal emphasis on developing her independence. After the college entrance exams, she applied to prestigious universities abroad and was successfully admitted. Though she's still young, it's only natural for us to worry about her studying abroad alone, but we chose to respect her decision. She worked hard to pursue her dream school and preferred major. Seeing her achieve this dream makes us so proud. How could we possibly object? Besides, missing her just means hopping on a flight. A 12-hour journey isn't that daunting. We personally took little Star to school before returning home with hearts full of hopes and blessings for her. During this year's winter break, I made up my mind to rent a guest house in Yunnan for a month-long stay. I adore Yunnan, its breathtaking landscapes, pleasant climate, and rich local culture. Though I visited Yunnan many times, each short trip ended with reluctance, leaving me yearning for more. I've always wanted to spend some time living in Yunnan, but work, kids, and family responsibilities never gave me the chance. Now that our daughter's studying abroad, it's just me and Lin Shangchuan at home during the holidays. When I brought it up with him, he agreed without hesitation to accompany me there. With how well the company's doing, Lin has achieved both financial freedom and flexible time. He can easily spare a month for this trip. We started packing our bags, and Jingke only found out about our plans 2 days before departure. He threw a tantrum about joining us, but Lin Shangchuan flat out refused. This is our romantic getaway, Jingke, could you at least read the room? Besides, your stomach issues cleared up years ago. Don't come mooching meals at our place after we're back. Jingke stared at him in disbelief. You're ditching me, just cutting me loose like that. Lin Shangchuan massaged his temples wearily. Jingke, you're not our responsibility. Besides Yunnan, Eru and I will be traveling frequently from now on. It's her dream, and I want to accompany her. You should find yourself a partner and settle down. I'm saying this for your own good. After all, you can't realistically spend your whole life with us. You need to plan for your future. Jingke seemed stunned. As if struck by a sudden blow, he stood frozen, unable to speak for a long while. 12, that night. Just as Lin Shangchuan and I were heading upstairs to bed, loud banging erupted at the front door. When we opened the door, Jingke collapsed before us, completely wasted. Lin Shangchuan rushed to support him. Jingke, what are you doing? How many years has it been since you quit drinking? At this rate, you're determined to ruin your health. Dazed, Jingke was helped up and looked at us with bleary eyes. When his gaze landed on me, he paused for a moment before breaking into a smile. Honey, I've had too much to drink, help me up, and I'd love some of your hangover soup. Lin Shangchuan's face instantly darkened as he dragged Jingke toward the door. Are you out of your damn mind? Do you even realize what you're saying? Watching the two before me, everything suddenly clicked. So Jingke was a reincarnator all along. The way he called me wife was exactly the same as in our past life. Seems I was too naive in that previous life. I truly believed we'd grow old together. That Jingke and I were happy, yet the moment he got reborn, he immediately set me up with his best friend. What I saw as marital bliss might have just been my own wishful thinking all along. Given another chance, he wouldn't choose to spend his life married to me again, but that's fine. I've long since moved on. Understanding this now doesn't even make me sad anymore. Jingke struggled while shouting, Lin Shangchuan, mind your own business. Even my wife isn't scolding me, honey. I know you hate when I drink. I won't do it again. I'll listen to everything you say. Come help me up. Jingke, shut your damn mouth. Lin Shangchuan punched him in the face. That's my wife. Your wife. Jingke touched his bruised cheek. Bullshit. She's clearly my wife. Lin Shangchuan, you're a confirmed bachelor. Never even married. Where'd you get a wife from? Then he turned to me. Sweetheart, whether you want to live in Yunnan or travel the world, I'll go with you. I was wrong before. Always too busy to make time for your dreams. Give me another chance. Anywhere you want, I'll be there. Okay, in my past life, I'd had those same dreams, but Jingke never made them happen. Too swamped with work, never able to clear his schedule. As Jingke finished speaking, Lin Shangchuan threw another punch. Shut the hell up, you hear me? Provoked, Jingke retaliated with a punch of his own. The two men became locked in a brawl. Both of you, stop this. I took a deep breath and stepped forward to pull them apart. Just as I reached out, Lin Shangchuan stopped first and immediately rushed over to embrace me. Darling, ignore him. His arms trembled as he spoke. You're my wife, we're married, and you chose to have children with me. We promised to grow old together in this lifetime. You can't go back on that. The past life is long gone. It means nothing now. His words left me stunned. Lin Shangchuan. He'd actually been reborn too. When did you find out? I looked up into his eyes. About me regaining memories from our past life. That year, on my birthday, when I saw the cranberry cookies you left on the table, that's when I knew, in our past life, those were your favorite treats. You'd buy them all the time, but back then, you only discovered them during that trip to Northeast China when you were 28, and started ordering them online afterward. In this life though, you never took that trip. Yet those cookies showed up in our home years ahead of time. I realized right then you'd remembered our past life. Do you have any idea how terrified I was? I was afraid you'd go looking for your husband from that life, afraid you'd leave me behind, but then you handed me the ultrasound report. telling me I was going to be a father. In that moment, I knew you'd chosen me, that you'd let go of your past life. Right then, I felt like the luckiest man alive. Crash. A loud noise came from the doorway. We turned to see Jingkook collapsing face first onto the floor. He struggled to his feet, trembling as he looked at me. You, so you remember your past life, then you must know that I nodded. Yes, I understand now. I misjudged you in our past life. You weren't happy. It must have been exhausting pretending all those years. I'm sorry you had to endure that. No, that's not true. Jungkook shook his head frantically. I wasn't enduring anything, and I never pretended. Spending a lifetime as your husband made me genuinely happy. I swear I'm not lying. None of that matters anymore. I took Lin Shangchuan's hand. Those memories are too distant to recall clearly. I've moved on now. Please don't disturb our lives again. Alright, Jungkook stumbled out, his face contorted between laughter and tears. 13, just a few cookies, and you saw right through me. I still couldn't believe it. And you're saying I first tried these during my trip to Northeast China in my past life. How come I don't remember that? All I remember is being obsessed with these cranberry cookies in my past life. But how that obsession started, that part's completely blank. Of course I remember. Lin Shangchuan chuckled softly. Every single thing about you is etched in my memory. You, in our past life. Yes, I've loved you since our past life. To be precise, it was deep love. But I've always restrained myself, he admitted bluntly. Impossible. I never noticed a thing. That's because you were happy. I didn't want to burden you or disrupt your life. So I suppressed my feelings with everything I had. You've no idea how much willpower it took to stop myself from looking at you every time we met. When did you start having feelings for me? Did Jungkook know about this? Were all those girlfriends just you being a player? And did staying single your whole life have something to do with me? Lin Shangchuan held my hand as we settled onto the couch. He pulled me close, resting my head against his shoulder, and chuckled softly. You're asking so many questions at once. Let me tell you everything properly. Through Shangchuan's account, I discovered facets of him that had remained hidden from me in our past life. He admitted that when Jungkook first introduced me to him, he'd already taken a liking to me. With my round face, large eyes, and soft facial features, he said I perfectly matched his ideal type, but since I was his best friend's girlfriend, he didn't dwell on those feelings. Later, thanks to Jungkook, we started seeing each other more often and gradually got to know one another. He grew increasingly fond of my personality, quiet, easygoing, never competitive, yet persistent in pursuing what I loved. One time when he visited Jungkook's place, he overheard our conversation at the door. At that critical juncture of the company's development, they had poured all their capital into the project, taken out bank loans, and borrowed money from relatives and friends wherever possible. Those were their toughest days. I handed my bank card to Jungkook. It contained every penny I'd saved. There was my hard-earned salary, red envelopes from my parents, even scholarship money I'd saved since college. I said, it's not much money, but maybe it'll help a little. I insisted on giving the money to Jungkook. Jungkook accepted it and asked me, what if this project fails? I go bankrupt, and you lose all your money. What then? What can we do? Keep working and earning. It's not like we'll starve. There's a way to live when you're poor, and another when you're rich. I don't have strong material desires anyway. Worst case, we tighten our belts. We're young and capable. It's not like we can't survive. Lin Shangchuan said he couldn't express how much he envied Jungkook upon hearing my words. He too longed to find a life partner who would truly love him and stand by him through thick and thin. When Jungkook and I got married, he gave us his genuine blessings, wishing us lasting happiness. Every time he traveled on business with Jungkook, I'd always be waiting at the airport to bring Jungkook home. Watching us walk away together, he felt profoundly alone. Back then, he dated constantly, desperate to find a girlfriend who truly matched him, but with every relationship, he'd quickly realize she wasn't what he wanted and break it off. He admitted no woman ever made him feel the urge to marry. Whenever they start a new project, both he and Jungkook get swamped with work, often pulling consecutive overtime shifts. I'd have our housekeeper prepare meals and deliver them to their office. Our marital home is close to their company. When they work late, Jungkook would bring him over to stay the night, saving them time. No matter how late they return, even if I'm already asleep, I'll get up to check if they've eaten. If not, I'd whip up something simple for them, dumplings, noodles, or fried rice with eggs, those quick and easy staples. He said having late-night snacks at our place gave him a warm, cozy feeling. It was the sense of home he'd been longing for. The Jungkook he knew actually had a bit of a temper. Back in college, Jungkook dated a girl too. They'd bicker constantly until eventually breaking up due to incompatibility. He once asked Xingke why he'd wanted to marry me in the first place. Xingke said we've never argued because we just click. Lin Shangchuan said he totally gets it with someone as kind, patient and understanding as me, who's always respectful and never acts up or has bad habits. How could there possibly be arguments? Once when we were traveling together, we had to cut the trip short after just one day due to a sudden work emergency. When we booked last-minute tickets, business class was full so we had to fly economy. Xingke had a bit of a spoiled brat attitude. He hadn't flown economy class in ages. That day, the cabin was unusually packed, and the cramped space put everyone on edge, with his long-awaited vacation cancelled and company troubles brewing. The last straw was a rowdy kid kicking up a fuss in front of him. Xingke's temper was about to snap. I quickly grabbed his hand and calmed him with a reassuring look. Then I distracted the child with a plush toy from my bag and told him stories. The little troublemaker quieted down and behaved for the rest of the flight. Lin Shangchuan said that as he sat beside me watching the gentle look in my eyes while I told stories to the children, it felt like the whole world softened around us. If he were my boyfriend, he'd be just like Xingke, even the worst temper would melt away. 14. The whole world softened. I shot Lin Shangchuan a sidelong glance. What kind of nonsense is that? Are you exaggerating? He nodded earnestly, pinching my cheek. You have no idea the magic you carry. Only those close to you can feel it. You're like a fixed star, radiating warmth and constancy. No matter when I turn back, you're always there, smiling, spending too much time with you. It's easy to fall in deep. I shook my head with a smile. Don't joke about that. If I really had magic powers, why wouldn't Xingke stay with me in this lifetime? That's because he couldn't appreciate what he had. He'd been with you for so long that he took your importance for granted. Being too close to the situation, he couldn't see the truth. You've no idea how much I envied him as an outsider, he said bitterly. Later, I found myself increasingly drawn to you, almost obsessively so. You filled my thoughts, and I kept fantasizing about you being my wife, afraid you'd discover my secret. I started flaunting relationships, doing every romantic gesture imaginable, practically shouting it from the rooftops. All those frequent girlfriend changes were just attempts to forget you while genuinely searching for the right partner. Unfortunately, I never found her. So you never married, exactly, since I couldn't give my true heart to someone else. Marriage wouldn't have been real commitment. Why lead anyone on? Lin Shangchuan, you're quite the actor. I never saw through your feelings for me. I tilted his chin up, locking eyes with him. My last life was bitter, pining for you my whole lifetime, but heaven showed me mercy by giving me a second chance. Lin Shangchuan gloated. I'd planned to meet you at the same time as Xingke this life for a fair fight. Who knew he'd hesitate after seeing your photo from his aunt and nearly reject the blind date? Luckily, I was right there to stop him. That's when I knew he'd also been reborn, and this time he didn't intend to rekindle things with you. Pure ecstasy flooded me. My chance had come. I told Xingke I'd fallen for you at first sight and begged him to introduce us. After all these years together, have I lived up to your expectations? I ventured. Like a toy you desperately covet until it's yours, only to find it less thrilling than imagined. Lin Shangchuan, have you ever regretted marrying me? After all, I'm just so ordinary. I've never believed I had any redeeming qualities. Lin Shangchuan wiped the tears from my cheek and said deliberately, never been disappointed. You've exceeded all my expectations, so much so that I'm constantly afraid you might leave me one day. Never having had you would have been bearable. But having known this happiness only to lose it, that would destroy me. Spending my life with you would be the greatest honor. 15. Just as Lin Shangchuan and I finished packing for our trip to Yunnan, Xingke blocked our path. Go talk to him properly, Lin Shangchuan said. He won't let this go otherwise. You don't mind. If I'm the fortunate one in this lifetime, then I'll be generous about it. Xingke and I sat facing each other at the cafe outside our neighborhood. I'm sorry, Iru. He looked at me with anguish. I've ruined everything. My whole life is a mess. No need to apologize. I've lived quite well this lifetime, I said softly. Please, don't talk to me like this. I'd rather you blamed me, hated me, anything but this, he rasped, his voice hoarse. I'm just a bastard, an ungrateful fool who never knew how good he had it. So, you never loved me in our past life. Was all that affection just an act? No, I did love you, and the happiness was real, but humans are never content. We take what we have for granted and covet others' lives. In that lifetime, by all appearances, I was a successful man, thriving career, devoted wife, brilliant son. My life was complete, yet, greed is human nature. I envy Lin Shangchuan. He bears no family burdens, forever free. He's living many men's dream, surrounded by wealth and beauties. He drinks the strongest liquor. dates the hottest women, he parties for days on yachts, burning cash without a care, living life to the fullest, but not me. I've got responsibilities, a family to uphold, and this good man image to maintain. Sometimes I even wish you were worse, if you were lazy, mooching off me, or obsessed with shopping and luxury brands, or being a drama queen favoring your family, or even keeping toy boys and clubbing every night. Then I could indulge guilt-free, but you're too good, flawless, irreplaceable, kind yet principled. You'd walk away the moment I crossed the line. The temptations out there are real, but losing you isn't a risk I'll take. I won't gamble with us, so I've suppressed these urges my whole life. When death comes, I'll still crave those unclaimed adventures. The world's so vibrant, and I had the means, yet chose to walk away. Never thought I'd get a second chance. Rewound to my college graduation days, with everything still ahead. I decided this time I'd live differently. I'd embrace freedom and make up for all my regrets. I was about to turn down my aunt's blind date setup when Jinku saw your photo, claimed love at first sight. He was my best friend back then, never had a girlfriend, nothing like his later playboy persona. How could I say no? Figured it was just one meeting, maybe you wouldn't like him, even if you dated. His true colors would show eventually, but I never imagined Lin Shangchuan was also reborn. With his ulterior motives carried over from our past lives, you two fell hard, married fast, lived happily. Something gnawed at me, though I couldn't name it. Here I was, living my dream, spending freely, sampling every type of woman, even pursued that actress I'd resisted last life, married her, yet peace eluded me. My heart wandered. I cheated effortlessly, guiltlessly. When she filed for divorce, I breathed relief and signed without hesitation. When I was hospitalized with stomach issues and drank the congee you brought me, that familiar nourishing porridge I'd had countless times in our past life, a long-lost warmth washed over me. Only then did it dawn on me, this lifetime, I've truly lost you. There's no chance for us anymore. You belong completely to another man now, and even a single spoonful of your cooking has become a luxury I can't afford. Panic set in. I feared growing distant from you. So I shamelessly started showing up at your place for meals every day. That domestic warmth, that sense of stable happiness, what had been routine in our previous life, has become utterly unattainable in this one. I know it's terribly rude to keep imposing on you both, inserting myself into your lives like this, but I can't help it. I've lost all reason, slowly descending into madness. Looking at the broken man before me, I said calmly, "You're an adult. You must take responsibility for your choices. This path you're on, you chose it yourself, and now you have to see it through." But I'm about to break. Not my problem. I stood up. All I know is, you can't have your cake and eat it too. When you chose freedom, you chose to let me go. Deep down you know there's no turning back in life. Move forward. Jinku, you're luckier than most people still fighting just to survive. Stepping out of the cafe, I spotted Lin Shangchuan waiting ahead and ran toward him with a smile. 16. In my past life, I married Jinku. My mom says fools have fortune's favor. She said Jinku is handsome, talented, wealthy yet devoted to family. Frankly out of my league. In this lifetime, I'll marry Lin Shangchuan. My mother also says fools have fortune's favor. She said a successful man like Lin Shangchuan would spoil me rotten without any boundaries. I must have saved the galaxy in my past life. I used to think so too. Fresh out of school and too timid to say no, I could only grit my teeth and nod in agreement. But now I know, living well isn't just about being lucky. I just live with my eyes wide open. I treat people with genuine sincerity, giving my whole heart without reservation. If you love, love wholeheartedly. But I also have my boundaries and principles, making it clear that I deserve equal love in return. My love brooks no imperfection. When hurt, I walk away without hesitation. I embrace life with optimism, vigor, and daily enthusiasm. I spread my positive energy to those around me. I'm emotionally stable, never lose my temper or complain when facing challenges, but take action to solve problems, because I know anger solves nothing. I inspire those around me with this philosophy. My success isn't dumb luck. I'm worthy of love and kindness. The end. Next story. In my previous life, my sister forced me to marry an ugly and poor gangster. As a result, 10 years later, the gangster became a stock god with a net worth of tens of billions, and I also enjoyed wealth. After her rebirth, the elder sister grabbed the gangster's hand first and was determined to marry him at all costs. But she didn't know, the real stock god is me. Her man can't do anything and is just a puppet I put on the stage. 1. When I was reborn, I was in a dimly lit gymnastics equipment room. The figure in front of me is my husband from my previous life, Zhao Xian. He tore off my clothes and put his face close to my neck. I feel weak all over. In the midst of the chaos, I struggled to realize that time had gone back and I was 17 years old again, back to the day when my sister Chi Yunyun drugged me. As I watched my clothes being completely torn off by Zhao Xian, the door of the gym was suddenly knocked open from the outside. A man rushed in. It's Chi Yunyun. She seemed to have run all the way here. Her hair stuck to her face with sweat. She didn't bother to tidy it up and came up to hug Zhao Xian tightly. Xian, don't be with her. You are mine. It suddenly dawned on me. Chi Yunyun and I were reborn together, too. In the previous life, Chi Yunyun liked the school hunk, but the school hunk wrote me a love letter. Chi Yunyun was jealous and crazy, so she drugged me and forced me to marry Zhao Xian, the worst gangster in the school. As a result, more than 10 years later, Zhao Xian became the Q god, a tycoon in the investment industry with a net worth of tens of billions, and I also became a wealthy wife enjoying all the glory. I wear rare Hermes leather every day and drive a Rolls-Royce worth more than 7 million when I go out. Everyone envied me. They said, Xiao Yu really married a good husband. When Zhao Xian was down and out, Xiao Yu recognized a hero with your keen eye. Now it's Xiao Yu's turn to enjoy the good life. Chi Yunyun's rich second-generation husband had long since fallen into poverty and became a debtor. He even tried to curry favor with Zhao Xian and said, brother-in-law, you must be Q god, right? I really admire you. Can you guide me when I invest? Every time Chi Yunyun looked at me, there was uncontrollable jealousy and deep regret in her eyes. Sure enough, at a family gathering, after Zhao Xian said he wanted to go to the bathroom, I saw Chi Yunyun following him in the corner. I walked into the dark corner of the corridor and heard my sister's drunken voice through the thin door. Ah Xian, it was obviously me that you liked back then. The sister hugged Zhao Xian and tried to kiss him. Zhao Xian took a deep breath and pushed his sister away. He said stiffly, that was more than 10 years ago. My sister fell to the ground, still crying and shouting. Have you forgotten that you brought me breakfast every day? Took me out on your bike, and said that I would always be your goddess. You would agree to do anything I asked you to do. Xian, you were supposed to be mine. Zhao Xian ignored his sister. He tidied up his clothes that were messed up by his sister and hurried out of the door. The expression was as if he was facing a plague that he could not avoid. My sister lost all hope and sat dejectedly on the cold floor of the bathroom. I pushed open the bathroom door, lowered my eyes to look at her, and said in a cold tone, don't sit here. Those who know you failed to seduce your brother-in-law, and those who don't know you will think you are acting in a youth pain movie here. Chi Yunyun suddenly raised her head and looked at me, her eyes full of hatred. Why is it you, Chi Xiaoyu? How can you compare to me? Why is it you who got married into a wealthy family now? I shook her hand off coldly. Sister, you have to understand that the reason Zhao Xian and I are together is because of you. Now that you see Zhao Xian has become successful, do you regret it? Unfortunately, it's too late. My sister stared at me fiercely, and after a moment, she shook her head and smiled viciously. Xiaoyu, you are wrong. It is not too late. At first, I didn't understand the meaning of that sentence, but at this moment, looking at my 17-year-old body, I understand. Chi Yunyun might be bound to some kind of system, taking me back to the age of 17, living her life over again. She wants to win back the man who should belong to her. At this moment, in the sports equipment room, Zhao Xian was breathing heavily. He looked at me. Chi Yunyun forced Zhao Xian's head to straighten, forcing him to look at her instead of me. Xian, I love you. She took the initiative to kiss him. I struggled to get up and stumbled out. Thank God, thanks to Chi Yunyun. I never dreamed that I could start over again and escape from this nightmare. In the previous life, Chi Yunyun gave Zhao Xian and I drugged drinks and locked us in the sports equipment room. Then he brought his parents and neighbors to catch the adulterer. The neighbors witnessed Zhao Xian and I in dishevel. My parents felt humiliated and determined that no other man would want me in this life, so they forced me to marry Zhao Xian. When I refused, they imprisoned me at home, deprived me of food and water, and beat me every day. At that time, Chi Yunyun was crying and persuading her, sister, just marry Zhao Xian, otherwise, for the sake of our family's reputation, I will have to beat you to death. Finally, I was dying and was forced to marry Zhao Xian. Later, even though I was very wealthy, this incident cast a shadow over my life. Now, I have finally escaped from this shadow. 3. Chi Yunyun came back during dinner. As soon as she entered the door, she couldn't wait to announce that she was going to marry Zhao Xian. When my parents heard this, they couldn't even hold the chopsticks. Yunyun, why is this? Zhao Xian has been held back for a long time. He is still repeating a grade in his 20s. How can he be worthy of you? Chi Yunyun shook her head and said affirmatively, Dad, Mom, I assure you that Zhao Xian is just down and out now, but he will definitely be very successful in the future. How could my parents believe this? They tried to persuade me even harder. and my mom even started to cry. Finally, Chi Yunyun was so annoyed that she shouted, "It's useless for you to stop me. I'm already Zhao Xian's man." My parents were shocked. Seeing her parents' shocked and desperate faces, Chi Yunyun smiled calmly. She sat next to her parents, put her arms around their shoulders affectionately, and spoke to comfort them. "Dad, Mom, you have to believe in your daughter. I told Dad not to do business with Uncle Lu and Mom not to go to the clinic in the East for treatment. But now it's been revealed that Uncle Lu ran away with the money and that the black clinic had a medical accident. Look, everything I say will come true. Since I was a child, the fortune teller said I was a lucky star. Have you forgotten?" After Chi Yunyun finished speaking, her parents' expressions became much more relaxed. She further advised, "So, you should also trust my judgment of men. Zhao Xian is a man with great fortune. We will have plenty to enjoy in the future." My mother was the first to be moved. "Really?" Chi Yunyun smiled and said, "How could it be false?" Dad also gradually took Chi Yunyun's confidence seriously. He even began to worry in advance. "If Zhao Xian becomes successful, will he make you angry?" Chi Yunyun smiled calmly and said, "No, Zhao Xian is a man who dotes on his wife. She must have remembered her past life." After Zhao Xian's Q-god identity was exposed, there were a lot of young beauties who wanted to hit on him. But he always looked straight at me and treated me, his original wife, better and better. He took the initiative to open the car door for me when getting in and out of the car, and served me the food when eating. He didn't dare to go west if I said east. Although Chi Yunyun's rich second-generation husband was heavily in debt, it did not stop him from staring at girls with good figures on the street. Comparing the two, it's no wonder that Chi Yunyun's eyes were so red with envy at this moment. Listening to Chi Yunyun praising Zhao Xian to her parents, I buried my head in my food, pretending not to hear. Unexpectedly, even though I didn't want to pay attention to Chi Yunyun, she still came up to show off her presence in front of me. That night, Chi Yunyun pushed open the door of my room. She stared at me who was concentrating on doing my homework and sneered, "Chi Xiaoyu, don't think I don't know what you're thinking. You don't say anything on the surface, but in fact you've been thinking about how to get Zhao Xian back. Am I right? How should I put it? Given my sister's situation, I'm embarrassed to admit that we have the same mother, but I am very happy that she misunderstood me like this. Let Zhao Xian attract all her attention. Only in this way will she not compete with me for the really important things." Chi Yunyun walked over to me while talking. She twisted my chin and forced me to look at the mirror next to me. "I advise you not to waste your energy. Look at your condition. If I take action, how can you possibly defeat me?" The mirror showed a dark and thin girl, wearing thick-framed glasses and an old-school uniform that looked like a sack. Chi Yunyun next to her has a face as white as jade, smooth black hair, and is wearing the latest mini skirt of the season. She is a beautiful girl who will definitely attract people's attention when she walks on the street. It's true that I'm not as pretty as Chi Yunyun, and my parents are partial to her and give the best food and clothes to Chi Yunyun, which makes me malnourished and pale, and the gap is even more obvious. Look at you like this. Do you really think there will be boys who like you? In my ear, Chi Yunyun was still mocking me relentlessly, as if she wanted to vent all the grievances she had suffered in her previous life. "Zhao Xian was originally my bootlicker. He married you because he couldn't lick me in his previous life. I won't give you another chance this time. When I reach the age, I will get married to him immediately. When he becomes Q-god, half of all his wealth will belong to me." Chi Yunyun's eyes were shining as she said this. Yes, Q-god had billions of assets at his peak, and he could get half of it in the divorce, which would be enough for him to live a luxurious life and date little girls for the rest of his life. I twirled the pen in my hand and lowered my head deeply. Chi Yunyun thought I was hit by her, but in fact, I lowered my head just to hide the smile on my lips. "Dear sister, I love your contempt for me. It is precisely because of this deep-rooted contempt that even if you were reborn 10,000 times, you would never have thought that. The real Q-god is me, yes. I am the big boss who started from scratch with wisdom, courage and luck. First, I won huge amounts of money in the stock market, and then I invested heavily in Bitcoin at the best time, completely realizing financial freedom. Since my SMUF ID on the investment forum is Cordiu, which is casually typed on the keyboard, I am called Q-god. Too many people are curious about Q-god's true identity, and I know I can't always hide behind the scenes. So I pushed Zhao Xian to the front of the stage and made him my puppet, in other words, a scapegoat. After all, our circle is full of ups and downs. Being suddenly rich will make you the target of everyone's jealousy, and being suddenly poor will breed many desperate criminals. During those years, Zhao Xian was kidnapped 3 times and beaten by his enemies 4 times. When he went back with me to visit his relatives, He had just been beaten and one of his ribs was broken. This is why when Chi Yunyun hugged him, he not only gasped but also pushed her away, but even if he endured all the attacks on stage, Zhao Xian would never dare to tell the truth. He dare not offend me. As a puppet, at least he can still enjoy glory. Without me, he is truly nothing. At this moment, I looked at Chi Yunyun, who was kept in the dark, and gave her a sincere smile. Sister, I whispered, I wish you and Zhao Xian a long and happy marriage. Go ahead and bind him. I will do well in the college entrance examination, save money, go to university in Beijing, and leave this home forever. 4. I sincerely hope that Zhao Xian can be together well with Chi Yunyun. However, after school, I was stopped by Zhao Xian. He rode his bike across from me and whistled at me like a gangster. Xiao Yu, you look pretty today. Why are you wearing such pretty clothes? I took a step back, feeling a chill. I know Zhao Xian's nature very well. He is a complete and utter rotten person. In the world of bad people, the ones who haven't slept with are always the best. This person was my sister in my previous life. Now it's me. Gritting my teeth, I tried to dodge to the side. I'm going to work. Please get out of my way. I recently worked as a cashier at a supermarket and wanted to save some money for myself. The boss was a very nice person. When he saw that I was wearing an ill-fitting school uniform with pants that were too short, he gave me his daughter's clothes. The light blue cardigan and snow-white midi skirt make her look much prettier than usual. As a result, he was targeted by Zhao Xian. At this moment, he came up with a playful smile. Work? What kind of work? I have work here. Do you want to work? As he spoke, he tried to move his body closer. I suppressed my nausea and quietly reached into my school bag, grabbing the scissors for self-defense. However, before I could take out the scissors, a figure rushed out from the side. She pushed me aside fiercely and stood in front of Zhao Xian to protect him. Qi Xiaoyu, why are you rubbing against Xian? She said loudly, pointing her finger at my nose. You seduced your sister's fiancé. How shameless of you. Zhao Xian stood in the distance, touched his nose, and said, I just happened to meet Xiaoyu while riding my bike, and she wouldn't let me go. When Chi Yunyun heard this, he became even more furious. Qi Xiaoyu, you are still so evil. Why don't you look in the mirror and see how you are worthy of Zhao Xian? I'm going to marry Zhao Xian for the rest of my life. If you dare to seduce him again, I'll ask my parents to sell you to the mountains. After saying that, Chi Yunyun grabbed Zhao Xian and turned away, but obviously, she was still worried. That night, when I returned home, I found my house in a mess. The tin box where I kept my money had been found, lying in the middle of the room. Inside was the salary I had saved from working in a supermarket during this period. Now the box was empty and all the money inside was held in Chi Yunyun's hand. Chi Yunyun looked at me triumphantly. She waved the banknotes in one hand and pointed at my nose with the other, her long nails almost poking my face. This is Qi Xiaoyu's hidden pocket money. She's always hanging out outside, but she's actually sleeping with the boss of the department store. I saw with my own eyes the supermarket owner giving her money and taking her to buy new clothes. Chi Yunyun pointed at the cardigan and skirt I was wearing and curled her lips. TSK. Now everyone over there probably knows that there's a mistress in our Chi family. Before I could say anything, my father rushed up to me with a gloomy face and slapped me hard. My mother cried and complained. The fortune teller said this girl was unlucky. I took several doses of abortion pills, but the baby still didn't come out. Now she has brought shame to our family. My parents are always like this. They favor their elder sister unconditionally. My sister can be forgiven for anything she does. When I was still a fetus, a master said that I was a disaster star. Not long after I was born, my father's business went bankrupt. So everything I did was wrong. At this moment, my father confiscated all the money I had saved, picked up the belt and started beating me. Chi Yunyun had a smug smile on her face, but her tone sounded like she was crying as she stood by and fanned the flames. Xiaoyu, don't blame daddy for beating you so hard. If you don't hit me harder, you won't learn your lesson. Girls should love themselves. Don't try to make dirty money again. Finally, I passed out from the intense pain. When I woke up again, I was lying in the yard. And my parents took Chi Yunyun shopping. Chi Yunyun is getting engaged soon, and they want to buy her a nice dress. I lost all the money I had saved and didn't even have medicine. I struggled to get up and groped my way out of the yard. The yard next door belongs to my cousin, and at this time only my cousin's wife was washing clothes outside. She was shocked to see me so weak that I couldn't even speak. Xiaoyu, oh my god, what's going on? My cousin's wife dropped her clothes and came to help me. And her hands were covered in blood. Wait a minute, I'll get you some medicine. I lay in the open space in the yard and looked at the sky. The moon is very bright, but there are always some dark corners in the world that it cannot illuminate. my cousin's wife is applying medicine on me. Why are your parents so cruel? After all, she is their own daughter." My cousin's wife wiped her tears. She is a kind person with a soft heart, but his life was hard. He was illiterate and his family would not allow him to continue studying after the 3rd grade of primary school. He had to go home to help with housework and take care of his younger brother. Later, her father sold her to my cousin in order to raise money for his younger brother's dowry. At this moment, she was applying medicine on my wound with concern, and I touched her arm, which was also covered with scars. My cousin often beats her. In my previous life, my cousin's wife passed away when I was less than 20 years old. After a long silence, I suddenly asked, "Cousin, do you have any private money?" My cousin's wife was stunned for a moment. "Don't be afraid, I won't tell my cousin." She breathed a sigh of relief. $2,000. What, is it because your family won't give you money for your studies? If so, take it. Studying is a serious matter. Girls should study. My nose felt sore, but I forced myself not to cry. In the most miserable part of fate, there are poor people who are trying hard to give each other a little sweetness. I whispered, "No, cousin, I don't want you to support me. I want to help you make money. I can turn your $2,000 into 20,000, or even 200,000. My cousin's wife chuckled and laughed. She obviously didn't believe me, and said to me like she was coaxing a child, "Okay, just use the 2,000 you want to study. And pay me back when you graduate from college. We're relatives, so why should I charge you interest?" I said nothing and looked up at the endless night sky. In my previous life, I became rich too late, and when I returned home, my cousin's wife had died of depression. In this life, I must help her. It's also helping myself. "Sister, you are so stupid." Even with the opportunity to go back in time, the only thing on her mind was snatching a man, and in my mind, there are stock codes one by one. "Do you know what kind of golden finger you gave me?" 5. Early Monday morning, I went to school with the money my cousin's wife gave me, intending to sneak away during the break when no one was paying attention, and go to the securities company's business department to open an account. Unexpectedly, not long after I rode my bike out of the school gate, a figure suddenly jumped out from the alley in front of me. The other person was chopping at me with a spiked wooden stick in his hand. I dodged in a hurry and fell off the bicycle, hitting the ground heavily. I didn't care about the pain and covered my school bag first. It contains all the private money that my cousin's wife gave me. In front of me was a pair of brand new brand name shoes. When I looked up, I saw a fat, round face looking down at me with a malicious smile. I recognized him. He is my sister's husband in her previous life, Chin Yong. Chin Yong has been a loyal bootlicker behind Chi Yun since middle school. He is a rich second generation whose father does business in the south. When we were still wearing gray school uniforms and generic shoes, Chin Yong was already familiar with all kinds of foreign luxury brands. Chin Yong pursued Chi Yun for many years. Chi Yun disliked Chin Yong's appearance, but could not give up his wealth. Therefore, she kept him at a distance throughout her teenage years and treated him as her number one backup. Later, when Chi Yun was older and hadn't met a better man, she married Chin Yong, but not long after the marriage, Chin Yong's family went bankrupt, and Chi Yun, who participated in the investment, was also implicated. The whole family became deadbeats and could not even take the high-speed rail. However, no matter how frustrated Chin Yong may be in the future, at this moment he is still the young master from a prominent family, who is so arrogant that no one can afford to offend him. So I protected my school bag and stepped back carefully, not wanting to have a head-on conflict with him. However, Chin Yong did not let me go. He kicked my face with the tip of his shoe and sneered. "Yun always told me that her sister was a dishonest bitch, and I really caught her." "What were you doing sneaking out of school like that?" I whispered. "Buy something." "Buying things." Chin Yong smiled. He suddenly stopped smiling, grabbed the strap of my school bag fiercely, and poured out everything inside. Pencil cases and books were scattered all over the floor, and an envelope fell out. I wanted to snatch it, but Chin Yong was quick and grabbed the envelope. "Wow, so much money." Chin Yong swung the bills in his hand. "What are you going to buy?" "Wedding candy for your sister and me." He put away the envelope and said coldly, "Don't think I don't know. Yun told me that you are vain and jealous of her. So you are willing to be a mistress to earn money to buy beautiful dresses. Did you steal or cheat this money?" "I'll tell Yun right now." Chin Yong kicked me into the corner. Dust flew everywhere, and I was choked and coughed, but my mind suddenly became clear. Chin Yong followed me. It was indeed Chi Yun's instruction. I was reborn with her. Although she had already snatched Xiao Shen away, she was still worried about me. So she asked her dog Chin Yong to keep an eye on me. That's not the point. The key point is what Chin Yong just said unintentionally. "Buy wedding candy for your sister and me." I burst out laughing. Very good, Qin Yong really didn't know that my sister was already together with Zhao Xian. Come to think of it, he still has some use to Qi Yunyun. If Qi Yunyun tells Qin Yong that she is going to get engaged to someone else, how could Qin Yong still work for her? Qin Yong was originally planning to turn around and leave, but suddenly he saw the smile on the corner of my mouth. He couldn't help but frown. What are you laughing at? I smiled even brighter. I'm happy for my sister. You love her so much and protect her so much. I will definitely have a very good brother-in-law in the future. I whispered. I look forward to your marriage as soon as possible. This is what Qin Yong likes to hear. His brows relaxed, but he still squinted at me. You're saying these nice things now. Do you want me to let you go? You don't have to let me go. I haven't done anything wrong. I stood up and brushed off the dirt on my body. This money was given to me by my cousin's wife. She heard about my sister's wedding and asked me to buy some gifts for her sister. Qin Yong's eyes suddenly changed, and he frowned. What's the good news? I pretended to be confused. I don't know either. But I heard from my parents that they plan to arrange a marriage for my sister before she goes to college. After all, we know each other well in our hometown, and we are childhood sweethearts. It's better than going to a big city and being cheated by a bad man in the future. I took a look at Qin Yong's expression, then smiled and said, Fool, you still can't react. Qin Yong was a little confused. What did you react to? My sister's engagement partner must be you, I said with a smile. Look, everyone knows that you like my sister. My parents said we are childhood sweethearts, so among all the boys around us, who is a better match for my sister than you? Qin Yong's face lit up with joy, and hesitantly asked, Why didn't Yunyun tell me this before? I scolded her. My sister is shy, but she should tell you in the next few days. Oh, I often see her running to the small woods behind the school recently. She must be preparing a surprise for you. Qin Yong was in love and asked in surprise, Is this true? Why don't you go and take a look now? I held out my hand to Qin Yong. Give me the money. I still need to go pick out a dress for my sister, brother-in-law. Do you like pink or blue? I'll pick according to your preference. Qin Yong was so happy to be called brother-in-law that he didn't think much and directly slapped the envelope into my palm. Pink. After saying that, he ran towards the school. He was probably anxious to see what surprise Qi Yunyun had prepared for him. I smiled, got on my bike, and was in such a good mood that I even whistled. This surprise will definitely make Qin Yong unforgettable for the rest of his life. 6. I rushed to the securities company and my cousin's wife was already waiting anxiously at the door. It was her first time in the trading hall. Looking at the various colors and numbers on the screen, she felt completely confused. Xiaoyu, do you understand this? I don't even have to look. From the time I bought my first stock, the market trends for decades to come are like something engraved in my mind, and will never be forgotten. I didn't say this to my cousin's wife. I just smiled and said, I understand, just trust me. At the securities company, I also saw a familiar figure, Qin Yong's father, Mr. Qin. He was originally working with his secretary, but then he received a phone call. His face changed drastically, and he hurriedly got into the black sedan parked at the door and drove towards our school. I stood at the door and watched the car disappear in silence. After finishing the formalities, my cousin's wife came to me and asked, What are you looking at? I looked at the sky and said, Nothing. The weather is going to change. The situation has really changed. With my help, Qin Yong rushed to the grove with great interest, waiting to see the surprise that Qi Yunyun would give him. As soon as he entered the grove, he heard an indescribable sound. When he looked again, he found that the protagonist was his goddess Qi Yunyun and the gangster Zhao Xian, whom he had never looked at before. This can be said to be the greatest stimulation Qin Yong has ever experienced in his life in the past 20 years. By the time he reacted, the sound of the ambulance had already echoed all around. Zhao Xian was beaten up so violently by him that he was sent directly to the hospital for emergency treatment. When I rushed to the hospital, Zhao Xian had already woken up, but was wrapped in gauze like a dumpling, lying on the bed, unable to move. This scene is quite familiar to me. After all, in my previous life, I pushed him to the front of the stage to block the knife for me, and he was often beaten like this, but Qi Yunyun had never seen such a scene before. She stood by the bed and cried until she almost died. Qin Yong was taken to the ward by his father, Mr. Qin. Mr. Qin was afraid that his son would go to jail, so he came to discuss a private settlement with compensation. As a result, Qin Yong was like a fighting bull. As soon as he entered the ward, his eyes turned red and he rushed directly towards Zhao Xian. If it weren't for the two secretaries of President Qin who quickly held him back, Zhao Xian would probably have been thrown out of the window by him. Qin Yong, apologize quickly. President Qin was anxious. why are you apologizing? I did nothing wrong. Qin Yong panted and pointed at Zhao Xian in the ward. He raped me, so I beat him up. Poor Qin Yong. As an ordinary person without the perspective of rebirth, his first reaction when he saw Zhao Xian and Qi Yunyun together was of course this. At this moment, Qin Yong looked at Qi Yunyun eagerly. Yunyun, please help me say something. I am here to save you. President Qin also got hope and looked at Qi Yunyun. Student, you are an eyewitness. You tell everyone the truth. For a moment, everyone in the ward looked at Qi Yunyun. She gritted her teeth and fell into a long struggle. Finally, she blushed and whispered, we volunteered. Qin Yong's face suddenly turned pale. What? Yunyun, you can't possibly. Although Zhao Xian, lying on the hospital bed, was covered in plaster, he still managed a smug smile. A small gangster like him from the gutter would never have the ability to humiliate a rich young master like Qin Yong, but Qi Yunyun actually gave him this opportunity. He was so happy that he was about to take off. That's right, Yunyun and I are in love with each other, Zhao Xian said loudly. Regardless of the pain of his wound, Qin Yong deliberately hurt me. He should go to jail. President Qin's face turned gloomy. He took a step forward, not looking at Zhao Xian on the bed, but trying to put pressure on Qi Yunyun. My classmate, I advise you to think it over carefully before you speak. The Qin family is so wealthy that even my parents started to get scared and began to hint to Qi Yunyun. Yunyun, why don't you think about it again? It can be seen that Qi Yunyun is really conflicted, but she couldn't offend Zhao Xian. Not only that, she also had to hold Zhao Xian's heart firmly. That's God Q, compared with the billions of wealth in the future. The Qin family now seems insignificant, so she held Zhao Xian's hand tightly. What are you thinking? Xian and I are truly in love. Anyone who hurts Xian should pay the price. Qin Yong couldn't bear it any longer, shook off his secretary's hand, rushed forward, and slapped Qi Yunyun. Qi Yunyun, are you blind? In his previous life, Qin Yong went bankrupt not long after his marriage, and he was very cowardly in front of Qi Yunyun, who always looked down on him. This was the first time she was slapped by this person whom she despised so much, and she went crazy immediately. Qin Yong, who do you think you are? She pushed Qin Yong away heavily. You are a second-generation rich man who has accomplished nothing. Do you think you are great just because your family is rich? Let me tell you, you will be bankrupt in a few years. As soon as these words came out, even Mr. Qin, who was standing not far away, turned pale. Finally, Mr. Qin slammed the door and left, and Qin Yong chased after him, leaving our family alone in the ward. My dad was so anxious that he rubbed his hands. This, Yunyun, why did you offend the Qin family? My father has been doing some small business in recent years relying on the Qin family's resources. Now that Qi Yunyun has offended the Qin family to this extent, my father can forget about doing business. Qi Yunyun frowned impatiently. Dad, don't be so short-sighted. If the business is gone, it's gone. She looked at Zhao Xian tenderly, as if she were looking at a rare treasure. With Xian, we will have everything. 7. For some time afterwards, my parents were busy dealing with the Qin family's difficulties in the business world. My sister was busy going to the hospital and being affectionate with Zhao Xian. I was busy studying and making money. Everyone has a bright future. When Qi Yunyun went home to make soup for Zhao Xian, she saw me working hard on my homework. Go ahead and study, she sneered. Study as much as you can. Even if you get into Tsinghua or Peking University, you'll just get a low salary when you graduate. I was too lazy to pay attention to her and concentrated on doing the questions. In my previous life, I was forced to follow Zhao Xian and had no chance to go to college. Later, I got a degree through self-study examination for adults, but in the end I was left with too many regrets. Qi Yunyun didn't understand that not all actions are aimed at making money. Money is a tool to obtain happiness, not happiness itself. For example, I want to experience 4 years of study, have a campus romance that has not been polluted by society, chat about gossip and the future with roommates in the dormitory, and have a midnight snack with friends in the club after the activities. These are the joys that I did not experience in my previous life. After Qi Yunyun left, I reunited with my cousin's wife. She covered the lower half of her face with a silk scarf, and my baseball cap was pulled down very low, and we both looked like thieves. I bought and sold according to your instructions, said my cousin's wife. This is your money. She handed over a passbook. I was surprised to find that except for the original 2,000 yuan, my cousin's wife gave me all the money. What are you doing? I said. This is all the profit earned from your capital. It's your money. I'll just take a cut. My cousin's wife waved her hands and said, I didn't do anything. Why should I take the money? I originally lent you 2,000 yuan, and now you have returned the money. How can I take the money you earned? I will be struck by lightning. I was helpless and argued with my cousin's wife many times, but she just refused. How about this, cousin? I said. I'll hire you. My cousin's wife was stunned. Why hire me? I still have to prepare for the exam. So I need you to help me with a lot of follow-up things, and I can't open an account by myself before I turn 18. So I still need to use your account to operate, I said. You should charge me a commission for this part. My cousin waved her hand. We are all relatives. I grabbed her hand and said, besides, when I graduate, I will have my own business. And I hope you will be my BD then. My cousin's wife opened her eyes wide. What is BD? I said. Business development. You are outgoing, good at speaking, likable, and good at building relationships. I think this job is very suitable for you. Before my cousin's wife could say anything, I heard a noise at the front door of my house. Qi Yunyun and Zhao Xian are back. My cousin's wife and I immediately exchanged glances in tacit understanding, then quietly dispersed and went back to our own homes. This is something we had discussed long ago. Now we are holding a huge amount of money, which is like a child carrying gold through a busy city. It is extremely unsafe. Therefore, before I am strong enough, I will never let anyone find out that we have made money. I returned home alone and heard Qi Yunyun and Zhao Xian happily chatting in the bedroom. Zhao Xian's voice was filled with the excitement of reaching the pinnacle of life. Teacher Li said that the others were mediocre, but he saw that I was extraordinary, so he decided to teach me everything he had learned in the investment world. Qi Yunyun was very excited. Ah Xian. I knew this day would come. I peeled an apple in the kitchen and started eating it. Oh, Teacher Li, I know what's going on. In the previous life, my parents paid to send Qi Yunyun to a private school in Beijing to study preparatory courses, but she did not meet Teacher Li, but I did encounter it. Mr. Li is well dressed, always wearing a three-piece suit and vest, and speaks fluent English. It is said that he just came back from Wall Street. He has a strong personal charm and is good at giving gripping speeches. In his speech, Mr. Li said that he has completely achieved financial freedom and his current goal in life is to help his fellow villagers get rich together. It can be said that the appearance of Teacher Li perfectly met Qi Yunyun's expectations. After all, Zhao Xian started out as an uneducated gangster, but in the future he became a Q god worth billions. This kind of change is like a young boy with poor talents finally growing up to become a great hero. During this process, there must be some golden finger events such as picking up martial arts secrets and getting guidance from masters. And now, Qi Yunyun has been waiting for a long time, and finally got this golden finger. We will go see Teacher Li again tomorrow. Xian, just study hard with Teacher Li and don't worry about anything else. Zhao Xian looked embarrassed, but the 60,000 yuan apprenticeship fee that Teacher Li mentioned, Qi Yunyun gritted her teeth and said, I'll help you. The apple in my mouth almost hit my teeth. I know Qi Yunyun is not very smart, but I didn't expect the brain to be so smooth. Yes, if you can attribute all your failures in your previous life to not choosing the right man, then you will naturally believe that all your chances of turning things around in this life lie with Mr. Li, a Wall Street elite who charges 60,000 yuan for his apprenticeship fee. I also met Teacher Li in my previous life. At that time, Zhao Xian was so excited that he was determined to make a fortune by following Teacher Li. I stopped him. I was actually just a young girl with little social experience at that time, but I could still tell that something was wrong with Teacher Li. For people who can really make a lot of money, time is extremely precious to them, so why would they come out to teach us how to make money? Moreover, he is so rich, why would he charge us 60,000 yuan as a teaching fee? At that time, Zhao Xian scolded me for being narrow-minded. Don't use your petty mind to speculate on Teacher Li's realm. He has long wanted to stop making money and just wants to help us get rich. This is to save all living beings and accumulate good karma for his next life. Then he still charges 60,000 yuan for apprenticeship. This is just a screening process. Teacher Li wants to see our sincerity. In the end, since I gritted my teeth and refused to agree, Zhao Xian went to find Teacher Li himself. He had no money to pay the apprenticeship fee, but Teacher Li did not make a fuss about it and even expressed his willingness to accept him as a disciple. Zhao Xian felt more and more that Teacher Li was great and wanted to repay Teacher Li in kind. Later, Zhao Xian followed Teacher Li to the south, and I lost contact with him for more than a year. The next time I saw him, he had just escaped from a pyramid scheme and called me crying, Xiaoyu, save me. In fact, I still have a little sympathy for Qi Yunyun and Zhao Xian who are about to join Teacher Li. But that night, I heard the conversation between Qi Yunyun and my mother. Mom, Xiaoyu will be 18 this weekend, and I think it's time for her to start dating. Zhao Xian said he knows a rich uncle who is indeed a bit old, but is willing to give a betrothal gift of 180,000 yuan. My family has been in a bad state recently, and my dad's business is gone. Zhao Xian has an opportunity to get rich, but it requires a capital of 60,000 yuan. So, why don't you arrange for Xiaoyu to meet the man as soon as possible? If she's satisfied, you can transfer the betrothal gift. It turns out that Qi Yunyun's way of getting the 60,000 yuan apprenticeship fee was to sell me out. Then the trace of pity in my heart disappeared without a trace. Die peacefully, sister. I'm really looking forward to watching how you make your way into hell. 8. Sure enough, on my 18th birthday, my family bought me a cream cake for the first time. My birthday present was a new dress. My parents made me put it on and spun around in front of the mirror while praising me. Little Yu has changed a lot since she grew up. She is getting prettier and prettier. Even Qi Yunyun was praising her. Xiaoyu looks well behaved and has good grades. Rich people like this the most. My parents took the opportunity to ask me to go on a blind date based on what she said. That person is a few years older than you. Thank you. He is 47 and I am 18, but men with good tempers and older age are caring. Thank you. His first 2 wives divorced him because they couldn't stand the domestic violence. I cursed inwardly, but smiled sweetly on the surface. Okay. Thank you parents and sister for worrying about my lifelong event. I'd love to go on a blind date, but I have to take the college entrance exam soon. Why don't I meet him after I finish the exam? My parents and Qi Yunyun didn't expect me to be so cooperative and they were very happy. At night, I heard them discussing. Xiaoyu probably knows that she won't find anything good if she searches on her own. She must be happy to hear that the other person is rich. I sneered and continued to review. In the blink of an eye, it was the college entrance examination. Since I was not forced to marry Zhao Xian in this life, I was able to take the college entrance examination smoothly. I have always had good grades, so when I finished the last subject and handed in the paper, I felt confident. After leaving the examination room, I didn't go home at all, but went straight to the hotel. My cousin's wife was already waiting there. This is what you want. She handed me a newly purchased suitcase, which contained clothes, a computer, a mobile phone, and toiletries. They were all bought by my cousin's wife according to the list I made. I don't plan to go home. If you leave like this, your parents will probably be very worried. I took the suitcase and said, even if they are worried, they are only worried about the missing betrothal money, not about me. I looked up and sincerely looked at my cousin's wife. Come with me, cousin. I'm going to Shenzhen this summer. There are many opportunities there. You can be my BD and we can make a lot of money together. My cousin's wife, who was used to doing housework, held the corner of her clothes tightly with her hands. I could see that she was scared. After a long while, she sighed. Xiaoyu, go away. You are someone who can do great things. But I can't do that. 9. Cousin's wife. Li Weining said goodbye to Qi Xiaoyu and returned home alone, walking and crying all the way. She hated herself, but she didn't know what she hated about herself. She is not a brave person and has been accustomed to following other people's orders for the first half of her life. Her parents told her not to study anymore, so she stopped. Let her stay at home to take care of her younger brother, and she will become his second mother. She was asked to marry in exchange for money for her brother to marry, so she married a husband who loved to beat people. She does whatever her husband asks her to do. It seemed that everyone around her was like this and no one resisted. The only one who taught her to resist was Qi Xiaoyu, but she was just a little girl who had just turned 18. Little girls are always full of innocent courage. She hadn't had the courage when she was a little girl, and she has even less now that she's so old. Li Weining returned home. The house was in a mess, with the husband lying on the mattress surrounded by wine bottles. As soon as she came in, a wine bottle flew over and hit the door frame, with broken glass all over her. You just came back now. You want to starve me to death. Such conversations happened every day, and Li Weining went to the kitchen to cook with her head down. She chopped the chopping board loudly, trying to cover up her husband's scolding with the sound of cutting vegetables, but the insults still continued to flood into her ears. You are unemployed, you don't bring any money home, you eat and live at my expense, so you have to take good care of me, and stop fooling me with your cyst medical records. I'm telling you, if you don't have a son this year, I'll break your legs. Li Weining cut vegetables in silence. An indescribable warmth surged in her heart, and her hands cut faster and faster. She remembered many things, thinking of her passbook. Her husband only gave her 1,000 yuan for household expenses every month and scolded her for not knowing how to live, but now she has 100,000 yuan in her account, which was left to her by Qi Xiaoyu. She remembered Qi Xiaoyu's words, cousin, awakening is a long process. but also a sudden moment. We all thought that if we gave in a little, we could get by, but it doesn't work. There will be a moment when you feel like, screw it, I quit, then you will enter a whole new world. Li Weiniang was cutting potatoes when she heard the man yelling, "Are you done? I asked you to cook, why are you dawdling in the kitchen? Do you want to starve me to death? You've been running outside all day long recently, you should be tied up with a dog chain." Li Weiniang suddenly chopped the chopping board with a knife. She said, "Fuck it." It was a strange afternoon. Li Weiniang's husband suddenly found his wife, who was known for her good temper, rushing out of the kitchen with a kitchen knife in her hand. She yelled, "Fuck you, I quit." Li Weiniang rushed out of the house. She left everything behind, and she was wearing only slippers and an apron, taking nothing with her. There are many things behind it, her carefully managed home, her marriage, and her original family, but she didn't even look back. She was running on the road, with only a huge sunset in front of her, but she felt strongly, she is heading towards a new world. 10. When I was about to leave the hotel and go to the train station, my cousin's wife came running over. She lost one of her slippers while running, her hair was messy, and she still had an apron tied around her waist. She rushed over breathlessly, "Xiao Yu, I've made up my mind, I want to go with you." Me. Put down the kitchen knife first and talk. My cousin Li Weiniang was cutting vegetables in the kitchen on the day she bid farewell to the old world. She was so excited that she forgot to put the kitchen knife down. Thanks to the kitchen knife, her cruel husband didn't dare to stop her, and she was able to escape from home safely. I went to buy my cousin's wife a pair of new shoes, and then went to buy her a train ticket. My cousin's wife kept looking at me with sparkling eyes. "Xiao Yu, didn't you ask me to be your baby before? Is there anything I need to learn? Even though I'm old, I can learn it. It's BD. I corrected my cousin's wife, "And you are not too old, a 25-year-old woman, there is still time for everything, it's still in time." My cousin's wife agreed with me happily. "Xiao Yu, I think I can definitely be a good DD. It doesn't matter, it's a good thing to start, in the future, we still have a lot of time to take things slow." The train started from the track. The setting sun outside the window was golden. My cousin's wife was beside me, excitedly holding a vocabulary book and began to study, while I leaned against the window, looking at the endless scenery outside the window. The next 10 years will be a decade of rapid development. There will be earth-shaking changes in China's economic sector. The bigger the water, the bigger the fish, and the more opportunities there are. I'm ready, this time, I will only do better than before. 11. It was 3 years later that I saw Qi Yunyun again. She and Zhao Xian escaped from the pyramid scheme and were giving statements at the police station. Since I was a relative, the police summoned me. When I saw Qi Yunyun again, I almost didn't recognize her. Even though only 3 years had passed, Qi Yunyun looked like she had aged 20 years. She had white hair early and deep wrinkles between her eyebrows. Zhao Xian, on the other hand, had a hunched back and a cunning look in his eyes. How should I put it? From a small gangster to an old gangster. And Qi Yunyun couldn't recognize me either. I was wearing a long silk dress. It had no logo on it, but the fabric showed that it was expensive. My previously dark and thin skin had been nourished to become fair and tender, and my dry and yellow hair had become jet black and smooth, casually draped over my shoulders. The car that took me to the police station was a familiar Rolls-Royce. The driver in white gloves opened the door for me, and the bodyguard in black suit followed silently behind me. Qi Yunyun was stunned when she saw me sitting down in front of her. "No, impossible." I pretended to be confused. "What's impossible? You didn't marry Zhao Xian. Zhao Xian is mine." Qi Yunyun's voice suddenly became hoarse. "Why did you become rich?" I frowned impatiently. "Sister, you said that we two sisters haven't seen each other for 3 years, and you come up to me and tell me this. When did I ever compete with you for Zhao Xian? He is definitely yours. Don't worry about that." My tone was cold. I already know what happened 3 years ago. Since I ran away immediately after the college entrance examination, my parents couldn't find me, so the blind date naturally fell through. In order to raise 60,000 yuan as Zhao Xian's apprenticeship fee, Qi Yunyun borrowed money from a loan shark. She firmly believed that investing in Zhao Xian was worthwhile. And no matter how high the interest rate of usury was, it would not matter compared to Zhao Xian's sudden wealth. The result is that one wrong step leads to another. They followed Teacher Li South loyally and entered the pyramid scheme den, being controlled, abused, and restricted in freedom. Qi Yunyun was going crazy. She repeatedly asked Zhao Xian, "Did you experience this in your previous life?" But Zhao Xian had not been reborn, so he naturally could not answer her question, at this moment. Qi Yunyun faced me and tried hard to review where the problem lay. After a long moment, she smiled strangely. "I see, you wrote down the stocks that Zhao Xian bought in your previous life. and repeated his operation in this life. Right, I was playing with the jade ring on my hand and was too lazy to pay attention to Chi Yunyun. With this IQ, you are really not worthy of talking to me. The great opportunity for rebirth is right in front of her, even if she just memorizes a few lottery numbers. It is better than thinking about Zhao Xian. It doesn't matter. Zhao Xian has already escaped from the pyramid scheme, and he will be able to buy stocks later. Qi Xiaoyu, just wait. I will definitely live a better life than you in this life. So, after coming out of the police station, Qi Yunyun borrowed money from everywhere and tried hard to raise money for Zhao Xian to buy stocks. But I don't understand this. Zhao Xian was very confused. Don't be afraid, you are Q God. Just by according to your intuition, Zhao Xian didn't know what Q God was, but he had never had a clear idea of his own capabilities. After listening to Qi Yunyun praising him like that and reading a few stories about people who got rich by speculating in the stock market online, he immediately became excited and felt that he would be the next one, so he bought in large amounts. At the beginning, I actually made a little money by luck. Qi Yunyun was overjoyed, and they quickly invested all their money back into the stock market. Then came the unprecedented collapse. Qi Yunyun didn't believe it. She grabbed Zhao Xian's hand and said, "It's okay, Xian, you are Q God. We can definitely turn the tables." They decided to have a good sleep and calm down before thinking of a solution the next day. As a result, the next morning, when Zhao Xian got up, he rubbed his eyes and told Qi Yunyun that he had a dream. "I dreamed that in my previous life, when Xiaoyu and I were in the sports equipment room, you didn't break in, and we ended up getting married. Later you went to Beijing to study and married Qin Yong. Xiaoyu and I continued to stay in our hometown. Teacher Li also showed up. I wanted to become his disciple, but Xiaoyu wouldn't let me. I went there without telling her, but ended up getting tricked into a pyramid scheme. I escaped a few years later, and Xiaoyu came to the police station to pick me up. She was already very rich at that time. She said she didn't want to control me, and if I still wanted to follow her, I should do things for her. She asked me to accept media interviews. The media took photos of me and called me Q God. I agreed and answered them according to what Xiaoyu asked me to memorize. In fact, I don't know anything. I was just a shield for Xiaoyu. People who hate God Q will take revenge on me. I was almost beaten to death several times. I know Xiaoyu hates me, and this is her punishment for me, but I didn't dare to leave, nor did I dare to tell the truth. I was afraid that Xiaoyu would ignore me, and then I would be a real scum of society." After Zhao Xian finished speaking, he saw that Qi Yunyun's face looked frighteningly ugly. He stretched out his hand and waved it in front of Qi Yunyun. "Honey, are you angry?" Zhao Xian coaxed her. "I dreamed of being with your sister. Are you jealous?" "I'm sorry, I definitely love you the most," Zhao Xian murmured puzzledly, but that dream was too detailed. It can't be true. Before Zhao Xian finished speaking, he heard Qi Yunyun's shrill scream. She grabbed her hair, screamed desperately, and even banged her head against the wall. Before Zhao Xian could catch her, Qi Yunyun fainted. 12. Well, your sister woke up, that's it. In the mental hospital, I looked at the woman in front of me. She became crazy, sitting on the bed, giggling and then crying bitterly. "I've given so much, so much. I am the heroine of a rebirth novel. The heroines of rebirth novels all want to reach the pinnacle of their lives. Why hasn't anything changed?" I asked Zhao Xian to leave and sit down next to Qi Yunyun. "Sister, you don't understand. What's useful is not rebirth, but taking advantage of information gaps and changing your thinking and cognition, and you have none of these. But I still want to thank you for sending me back," I said sincerely. "Thanks to you, I have lived an extremely successful life." Qi Yunyun stared at me, and after a moment, she screamed again. "Keep an eye on her and don't let her hurt herself." I gave instructions to the medical staff and left the mental hospital. "Today, I have an important meeting." 13. At the deepest part of the alley there is a blue roof with a sign at the door. "Wishing shop, 10 yuan per time." It looks like a small shop that only junior high school students would visit. I walked into the store. The handsome young man was dozing off behind the counter while holding a big yellow cat. Upon hearing the noise, he immediately stood up and said, "Welcome." He saw my face clearly and was stunned. "I'm sorry for not welcoming you. What do you want from me?" I smiled and said, "Don't pretend. I know that my sister got a chance to be reborn because of you. It took me a long time to find this clue. The manager of this inconspicuous little shop is Su Xiaoran and the deputy manager is Ji Zhao. But the information I got was very strange. Su Xiaoran was a very ordinary female college student, and Ji Zhao's identity could not be found out at all. At this moment, Ji Zhao brought me a cup of hot tea. I had no mood to drink it, so I got straight to the point and said, "I can give you any amount of money you need." I have only one request, I cannot be reborn again. Yes, that's what I want to do. Block Qi Yunyun's path to rebirth. Ji Zhao was stunned for a moment and then laughed. You may have misunderstood. Our real client is not your sister, but you. My eyebrows twitched. Time travel is an extremely expensive business. We only offer it to the most deserving clients. You are one of the people we selected very early on. Then why didn't you come to see me? We looked for it. We tried many times to leave small ads where you could see them and send you text messages to promote our products, but you ignored them all. I held my forehead. This is indeed very likely. I'm so busy that I have to rely on my secretary to remind me of important emails, let alone something like this, which looks like spam. So we tried to sell it to your sister. She was very reluctant to accept the past. So she agreed immediately. I raised an eyebrow. Does she know that you are using her to your advantage? Look at what you said. How can this be called exploitation? Ji Zhao waved his hands. His eyebrows and eyes were coated with a beautiful golden color in the sun. We did let her be reborn, but the price was to bring you back to life with us. These conditions are all laid out in the open, and she agreed to them herself. It was a clear deal. As for other matters, they are beyond our jurisdiction. Whether you can change your fate or make things worse depends entirely on your own ability. Our store is not responsible. Then I have one last question, I said. Why did you choose me? This is also very simple. You have actually answered us with practical actions. Ji Zhao smiled. This time you were reborn. You changed your original investment route and put more energy into the real economy, providing nearly 10,000 jobs for the society and promoting the reform of the manufacturing industry. Sure enough, at a family gathering, after Zhao Xian said he wanted to go to the bathroom, I saw Qi Yunyun following him in the corner. On the financial magazine on Ji Zhao's counter, there was a photo of my cousin's wife. As a female entrepreneur from a grassroots background, she has recently been committed to promoting agricultural assistance projects. In the photo, she has a bright and shining smile. She is no longer the little woman who died of domestic violence from her husband in her previous life. There are many women like Li Weining, Ji Zhao said. So, this deal is worth it for us. 14. When Su Shaoran returned to the wishing shop, Ji Zhao was looking for something to cover his instant noodles. Want a bite? Ji Zhao said. I added cheese, seaweed, crab sticks, and soft-boiled eggs. Su Shaoran ignored him and opened his notebook to confirm the follow-up details of the business. Well, Qi Yunyun spent the rest of his life in a mental hospital. Qi's parents went bankrupt and fell into poverty and debt collection. Zhao Xian lived on the streets and got a leukemia. Qin Yong went to jail for beating someone, and his father became a deadbeat. Su Shaoran wrote down the endings of these side characters one by one, but, for Qi, these should not be important. These people couldn't stop her in the last life, and they can't stop her in this life either. Just like Mr. Qi said, she will only lead more people to a bigger world. After expressing his feelings, Su Shaoran looked at the instant noodles in front of Ji Zhao. What is that? Instant noodles with cheese, seaweed, crab meat, and soft-boiled egg. I just asked if you wanted a bite. No. I'm asking what that thing you're using to wipe the instant noodle soup is. Ji Zhao took a look and was stunned. Oh shit, it's the check that Mr. Qi left for us. He had just spilled his instant noodle soup and was wiping the table with something. It turned out to be a check written by President Qi to thank them, and the amount was extremely huge. Damn, they're all soaked and can't be used anymore. Hurry up and let me go back to 10 minutes ago. Hurry up. Su Shaoran could no longer bear it. Ji Zhao. This is not how the abilities of the Suhui people can be used. Hurry, let me be reborn. It's more than 50 million. A mini rebirth took place inside the shop, and the next sponsor should be on the way. Story 2. I had been married to Qi and I for 3 years. It was only after his death that I discovered his morbid and paranoid longing for me from his diary. I'm so envious of the young lady's dog. I also want the young lady to put a collar on me. I dreamed of the young lady. When I woke up, I'm wet again, I'm guilty. With the diary in hand, I was reborn 10 years ago. It was the most down and out time for Qi and I. The look he gave me was cold, like a wild and untamed fierce dog. I smiled and hooked my finger. Smile, or I'll kiss your mouth until it's swollen. The deliberately maintained indifference on his face suddenly collapsed completely. 1. When I arrived at school in a Rolls Royce, Qi and I was selling egg-filled pancakes at the school gate. He was 186 meters tall, thin and tall. The cheap apron outlined his slender waistline. Just looking at his back, he gave a strong sense of being a good husband. Seemingly sensing something, Qi and I raised his eyes. His indifferent and world-weary eyes looked at me. An extra egg costs 5 yuan, and without an extra egg, it's 4 yuan. His tone was as calm as a stagnant pool of water. I smiled and showed my phone. How much for adding you as a friend? The hand holding the spatula tightened. He warned with a solemn face, Chingzi, this isn't a place for you to play around. His voice was cold, looking as if he was pushing people away from 1,000 miles away. I was a bit dazed. This Chi was different from the one in my memory. 2. In my previous life, my father went bankrupt and died when I was 25, and my fiancé went to prison. I fell from a rich young lady to the abyss. To pay off the debts, I signed a contract with an internet celebrity company. The company arranged a 12-hour live streaming task for me every day. If I didn't want to do it, I had to pay a huge liquidated damages. I thought my life was over like this. Suddenly, the company was acquired by a certain big shot, and all the exploitative contracts were invalidated. When signing the new contract, I found out that the new boss was Chi. He was my classmate in high school and university. He no longer had the down and out and gloomy look of his youth. He had a calm temperament. Wearing a set of high-end custom-made suits, he looked extremely noble. He had become someone I could only look up to. I suppressed the bitterness and lowered my head. He took the pen from my hand, and his gentle gaze fell on my face, with a faint burning sensation. Chi asked me if I was willing to marry him, and he would pay off all my debts. Seeing my stunned look, he explained lightly that I had helped him in high school, and my father had also funded him in university. I was his benefactor. I racked my brains and thought about it. The help he mentioned was nothing more than that he had worked part-time at my home for a while in high school. It's okay if you're not willing, don't worry about those debts. I thought for only a second and then simply agreed. Chi was silent for a while and then lowered his pitch-black eyes. I'm not a good person. This is taking advantage of kindness to repay. I can give you time to think it over carefully. Don't force yourself. I shook my head. Mr. Chi, I'm willing. To show that I wasn't being forced, I carefully hooked his little finger. Suddenly, Chi's hand trembled, and his whole body tensed up, like a wild beast breaking out of its cage. Strong emotions surged in his eyes. His gaze was so intense that it seemed as if he wanted to swallow me in one bite. It was a bit scary, but when I saw his red ears, I wasn't afraid at all. I boldly threw myself into his arms. After getting married, Chi respected me very much. According to the nanny, he almost treated me like an ancestor. However, Chi never touched me. I shyly took the initiative to tease him. The corners of his eyes were tinged with a faint red. Clearly, his breathing was disordered, but he restrained himself and stuffed me into the quilt. Sorry, I'm not okay there. He gave an explanation in a hoarse voice. I took a look down. Liar. He was so excited that his suit pants were almost bursting. I thought Chi didn't like me and married me just to repay his kindness. It was only after his death that I accidentally found his diary. After opening it, my heart was pounding wildly. The young lady smells so good. I can never get enough of it. I'm so jealous of that ugly dog. It can be held in her arms. Why can't I be a dog? Is it because I'm not ugly enough? I dreamed of the young lady. When I woke up, I'm wet again. I'm guilty. If I die, will the young lady cry? I'd better die quietly. The young lady looks the most beautiful when she smiles. I never expected that the cold and gentle Chi actually had such crazy longings for me in his heart. You damned man. You made me live like a widow for 3 years. In this life, I don't believe I can't pry open his hard-mouthed lips. 3. No kidding. Chi was busier than the president every day. He sold egg-filled pancakes in the morning, worked part-time during the day, and stayed up all night writing code for his startup at night. He was rated as the poorest school hunk in University A. It was said that when he learned that he was rated as the school hunk, Chi didn't even lift his eyelids. He only asked, "Can the title of school hunk be converted into cash?" Everyone said he was crazy about money. This directly led to the fact that I only spent 200 yuan to hire Chi as an art model. The moment he stepped into the classroom and saw me, his steps paused. I didn't give him a chance to back out. I closed the door with a bang. "Student Chi, you've taken my money. Do you want to run away?" It seemed that he just reacted and withdrew his gaze from my face. He consciously sat on the chair, knees together, hands stiffly placed on his thighs. His lips were tightly pursed. "You can start." I looked at him with a smile. "Take off your clothes." "What?" He slightly raised his eyes. He looked very much like a frightened fierce dog. I said matter-of-factly, "As an art model, of course you have to take off your clothes. Don't you have even this bit of professional ethics?" There was a long standoff. Chi closed his eyes and gave in. He raised his hand and slowly unbuttoned the first button of his shirt, revealing his sexy Adam's apple. Then came his beautiful collarbone. Going further down, I sincerely praised, "It's very beautiful." Student Chi and I is pink. The 19-year-old Chi and I didn't have the calmness and composure of 10 years later, just being teased a few times. Even his fair skin turned a thin layer of pink, his slender, jointed hand pressed on his waist, as if he was enduring to the extreme. Shut up, he scolded softly, ashamed and annoyed. The air conditioner was set at a high temperature. Sweat trickled down his abdominal muscles and disappeared below his beautiful mermaid line. I kindly pinched a tissue to wipe his sweat. Both Chi and I and his brother stood up straight. So polite, I commented, following my gaze. Chi's whole body stiffened, and his face looked extremely ugly. He reflexively grabbed his backpack to block it. The veins on the back of his hand bulged, full of tension, in the previous life. It was also this hand that gently patted my back in countless nights to drive away my nightmares. Chi and I repeatedly emphasized that he was taking advantage of kindness to repay and wasn't a good person. But there was no one better than him in the world. A person who loved money so much gave me his hundreds of millions of without reservation. What a fool. The 19-year-old Chi and I wasn't gentle. Are you done drawing? I'm leaving. He had a straight face and an extremely rude tone. I knew very well that this was just his bluffing disguise. I stood on tiptoe and kissed him on the corner of his lips. Good boy, let's call it a day. The fierce expression on his face could no longer be maintained. He covered the kissed part of his face and took a step back. What are you doing? There was disbelief in his pitch black eyes, like a beautiful innocent girl forced by a bully. I blinked, looking very innocent. This is your reward. Don't you like it? What do you take me for? Chi and I tightened the straps of his school bag, and the broken hair hanging down in front of his forehead blocked the emotions in his eyes. Chungzi, his slightly hoarse voice said word by word, I'm not that kind of shady person. He was so angry that his face turned red. He walked very fast, as if there were evil spirits chasing after him. Not long after, my phone received 200 yuan that Chi and I had returned. He was determined to draw a clear line with me. I deliberately played the blame-shifting game. Chi and I, that was my first kiss. 200 yuan isn't enough. It was also my first kiss. As soon as the message was sent, he hastily withdrew it. The chat box kept showing typing. When I came back after taking a shower, in 20 minutes, my phone was filled with messages from Chi and I. He probably finally calmed down, just like in the art studio. His tone was stiff. So what do you want? Another 5 minutes passed. Prompt. Your new friend Chi and I has transferred 3,527.24 yuan to your account. Chi and I, this is all I have on hand. The rest is in financial management. I'll withdraw it tomorrow. After a while, Chungzi, I'm not angry with you. This kind of thing can only be done between boyfriend and girlfriend. You already have a fiancé. I accepted the money and sent him a voice message. Student Chi and I'll act as if this never happened and won't affect your reputation. One sentence interrupted the spell, casting on the other side. After a while, Chi and I sent 2 dry words. Okay, I lay on the bed, imagining what expression Chi and I might have now. Suddenly, I saw a message from Su Jing. Su Jing was my cousin. After my uncle and aunt passed away, my parents took her in and took care of her at home. I had always regarded her as my own sister. It was only until the Chung family went bankrupt that I discovered that she had been jealous of our family for so many years. She was jealous that my family was rich, jealous that I was loved and grew up pampered by my parents, and hated that I was engaged to the boy she had a crush on. She deliberately leaked the company's confidential documents and then showed off her love with my fiancé in front of my sickbed, making my father's heart stop. On the phone, Su Jing's voice was sweet. Did you quarrel with Zhou Yang again? I booked a table at the bar tonight and also called Zhou Yang by the way, this time. I'll definitely force him to apologize to you. It was the same old thing again. Whenever I had a conflict with my fiancé, Su Jing would always act as a confidant sister to persuade us, but the more she persuaded, the worse my relationship with Zhou Yang became. Listening to her gentle voice, I smiled. Cousin, do you think too highly of yourself, forcing Zhou Yang to apologize to me? Are you his mother or his great-grandmother? I could tell she was being fake nice. Su Jing was slightly stunned. Zi, how can you say such ugly words to your sister? I said casually, I don't know, maybe it has something to do with my family education. After hanging up the phone, I asked a makeup artist to do a man-killing nightclub makeup and set off happily, because I found out that Chi and I worked part-time at this bar at night. It would be nice to show my face in front of my future husband by the way. 5. Chi and I was cleaning up the messy tables in the bar. Under the ambiguous and dim lights, he was mopping the floor very seriously with a rag. He didn't sell his body or his skills, just his hard work. With his broad shoulders, narrow waist, curvy buttocks, and long legs. He attracted the attention of many people. When he saw me, his eyebrows knitted tightly. Before he could speak, Su-jing came out of the private box to welcome me. She glanced at Chi and I. "This male model is not bad. Do you like him?" "I'm not a male model." Chi and I explained with a cold face. Su-jing waved her hand indifferently. "Then you ask the manager to call a group of male models over. I want the highest quality ones." I was pulled into the private box by Su-jing. There were several of her friends sitting inside. Zhou Yan has a very stubborn temper and refuses to come and apologize no matter what. Su-jing raised a smiling face. "There are more men in the world than just Zhou Yang. In my opinion, you should try someone else." When Zhou Yang gets jealous and anxious, he will definitely know how to bow his head and apologize, her friends echoed. "There are plenty of fish in the sea. Why stick to just one? Zhou Yang is nothing." Su-jing clapped her hands, and the door of the private box opened. Male models of various styles filed in, bringing in a pungent smell of perfume. Chi and I walked at the end, calmly placing the fruit plate and drinks on the table. "Pick the best one to accompany you tonight. Consider it a boredom-relieving gift from your sister." Su-jing looked very understanding. A few of her friends secretly raised their phones. They just wanted to take a video and send it to Zhou Yan to drive a wedge between me and him. I had seen so many such despicable means after going bankrupt in my previous life. "Then you, and you." I pointed to the three most expensive male models in the room. I turned my head and smiled at Su-jing. "Cousin, I have a big appetite. I'm going to make you spend a fortune tonight." My parents gave the same amount of pocket money to Su-jing and me, but Su-jing was extravagant and loved to show off in front of her friends, so all along, I had been quietly covering for her. Tonight, she was probably going to max out her credit card. Su-jing forced a smile. "It's okay, as long as you like it. After all, I'm your sister, right?" I hugged three male models on either side. Before going out, I took a look at Chi and I, who was still arranging the fruit plate, so dedicated. The watermelon slices were almost squeezed into watermelon juice by him. Su-jing opened a luxury suite for me. Suddenly, the room card in my hand was snatched away. Chi and I stood in front of me, his breathing becoming rapid. "Qingzi, this isn't a place to fool around." "I know, so I'm going to fool around somewhere else." Qingzi's face turned pale. Several male models teased. "Does the part-timer also want to join? He's so wooden. Can he serve Miss Qing well? Kid, go mop your floor properly." Chi and I pursed his lips tightly and said nothing, until I reached out to snatch the key from his hand, but instead, he grabbed my wrist and pulled me into his arms. His strong arm was across my waist. I struggled a bit, and Chi and I hugged me even tighter. I looked up and met his wet eyes. His eyelashes were gently trembling. Hot breath sprayed in my ear. "Don't choose them. Choose me." His voice was so suppressed that it was almost broken. "Miss, choose me. I'm cleaner than them." 6. Finally, I understood why in those domineering president novels, the male lead would fall in love at first sight with the stubborn little white flower female lead. I might really not be a good person. Seeing Chini's forbearing and fragile appearance, I just wanted to bully him even more, until we were led into the hotel suite. Chi and I still maintained the posture of holding me in his arms. He looked dazed. It seemed that he didn't know how things had developed to this point. "Qingzi, call me miss." I raised my index finger and touched his lips. I pressed down on them provocatively. "Why are you frowning?" "Student Chi and I, weren't you so bold when you drove those three people away just now? You said you were better than them. Is it here, or here?" The muscles under my palm suddenly stiffened as if they had been electrocuted. Before I could fully appreciate the boy's ashamed and indignant expression, my wrist was grabbed. "Qingzi, do you really have to be like this?" Those eyes were dark and deep, filled with a profound and surging desire that was even thicker than the night outside the window. It was creepy to look at. I smiled and tilted my head back, pecking at his protruding Adam's apple. Chini's fierce mask shattered into pieces, his breathing became disordered, and he chased after my lips and kissed me. The 29-year-old Chi and I was always calm, powerful, gentle, and reserved. The 19-year-old Chi and I was just the opposite. He was like a tireless young calf, full of boundless brute force. He would get extremely excited with just a few teases. He had no skills and only knew how to plunder clumsily. He was so clumsy. I tilted my head back and kissed his tense chin. Student Chi and I, who is the shady person? He lowered his eyes and glanced at me without saying a word, just focusing on what he was doing. Student Chi and I has such a stubborn mouth. Everything about you is stubborn. Stop talking. Chi and I was furious and covered my eyes. His actions were fierce, but the kiss that landed carried a devout longing. Suddenly losing my sight, my sense of hearing became even more acute. I boldly teased him. Student Chi and I, you sound so nice when you make those noises. Okay, this time, my mouth was also fiercely blocked. I was like a triple-fold mobile phone. Chi and I treated me like a treasure, tossing and turning with me until dawn. When the knock on the door sounded, Chi and I instinctively lifted the quilt and wrapped me tightly. Chingzi, open the door quickly. I know you're in there. Are you too afraid to open the door because you dared to cheat on me? Zhou Yang's furious voice floated into the room word by word. Chi and I seemed to have just come to his senses, and his bloodshot eyes awkwardly avoided mine. His fingers tightly grasped the bed sheet. Do you want me to hide? The air was filled with a thrilling smell that made people's faces turn red and their hearts race. Chini's chest and back were covered with scratches, not to mention the corner of his mouth that was broken. He was like a wolf cub who had been severely bullied but still lowered his head and looked submissive. Somehow, I didn't want others to see him in this state. Outside, Zhou Yang's angry roars didn't stop, mixed with Su Jing's gentle soothing voice. It was so annoying. I directly dialed the phone and wailed into it. Mom and Dad, my cousin is pregnant with Zhou Yang's child. Yes, I've been cheated on. Woo woo. After hanging up the phone, a series of mobile phone ringtones sounded outside the door. Zhou Yang and Su Jing were flustered as they explained to the phone. Gradually, the voices outside the door faded away. The tears that I had finally squeezed out were gently wiped away by Chi and I. His eyebrows furrowed into a small hill. Did they betray you? Yes. Stop crying, it's not worth it. In novels, the male lead would use all kinds of sweet words to make people feel elated. Chi and I couldn't do that. He could only say a few dry words over and over again. My eyes were filled with tears, and I cast flirtatious glances at him. I was hoping that he would coax me more. Chi and I was silent for a while, as if he had made up his mind. His tone was solemn. Chingzi, I will act as if this never happened. It won't affect your reputation. Go away. I might as well have cast my flirtatious glances at a dog. I took a deep breath. Chi and I, don't you have anything to confess to me? Who exactly saved me when I fell into the water in my sophomore year of high school? 7. In high school, Chi and I went to the same school. When he came to work part-time, my parents paid him extra to take better care of me. In more common terms, Chi and I was my lackey. He didn't seem to care about the mockery from others. He always called me miss in a serious manner and followed me dutifully. During the summer vacation of my sophomore year in high school, I went camping in the mountains with several of my peers in the same social circle. While playing around, I was swept into the river by the turbulent water. When I woke up again, I was lying in the same hospital room as Zhou Yang. Everyone said that Zhou Yang had risked his life to save me. I regarded him as my savior and treated him with preference and tolerance everywhere. During the same period, Chi and I resigned from his part-time job, transferred schools, and disappeared without a trace. It was only in my previous life when I opened the diary that I learned the truth. The one who saved me was clearly this big fool, Chi and I retrieved the medical records from that time from the hospital. In order to save me, his legs were broken, and his calves were scratched by stones, leaving several deep blood marks that could even show the bone. He disappeared from my world silently, covered in injuries. In the diary, Chi and I didn't write the reason. Now, when I pressed him, he instinctively tightened his grip on the bed sheet. I don't know. He was still pretending. I got angry. I directly hooked my arm around his neck and bit the other corner of his mouth. I took a hard bite. Do you know now? His eyelids twitched, and he lowered his voice. Sorry, it's getting late. I have to go sell pancakes. I laughed out of anger. As the young lady of the Qing family, how could I be less important than a multigrain pancake? The 29-year-old Chi and I was clearly not like this. When he heard me cough on the phone, he would immediately end his work and rush back from abroad. No matter how busy he was on a business trip, he would always remember to bring me all kinds of small gifts that I liked. After I found a job, he would definitely take a detour every day to send me to work and pick me up after work. The assistant said that for a big boss like Mr. Chi, time was more precious than money. He said I don't love you and I can't with his mouth, but he left all the most precious things to me. I was probably spoiled by Chi and I couldn't accept such a big gap from 10 years ago. 8. When I got home, everyone was there. Su Jing knelt on the ground crying. Aunt and uncle, Zhou Yang and I are innocent. I don't know why my sister is slandering me. Zhou Yang helped her up, his face full of anger. Chingzi, stop being unreasonable. There's no need to involve innocent people in our conflict. She's your sister, not a servant. Why should she kneel to you? My mother hugged Su Jing distressfully and comforted her softly. My father also sternly said that he would definitely clear her name. I still couldn't figure it out. What right did Su Jing have to hate our whole family to the core, just for a man? If in my previous life she had directly said that she liked Zhou Yang, I would have happily fulfilled them, but she didn't. She was submissive with her mouth, but in her heart, she was planning how to push me and my parents to their deaths. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Zhou Yang became even more confident. You went to the bar and ordered male models just to make me angry and force me to make up with you. Can you please change your young lady's temper? Who else can tolerate you except me? If you can't stand it, then break off the engagement. After coldly leaving such a sentence, I directly went upstairs and returned to my room. Zhou Yang left in a fit of anger. During dinner, it was just me and Su Jing at home. Her eyes were swollen, and she forced a smile. Zhou Yang really likes you. Even though you treated him like that, he didn't even think about breaking off the engagement. That's because he's despicable. I slowly shoveled rice into my mouth. Cousin, give me some of the stuff you put in the hotel room that night. I had known for a long time that she had put an aphrodisiac incense in the suite in advance. Otherwise, Chi and I wouldn't have lost control like that. Although he looked really cute when he lost control, Su Jing still wanted to argue. But I interrupted her with a smile. Give it to me, or I'll call the police. Su Jing couldn't even pretend to be weak anymore. She looked at me with a mixture of surprise and fear. Qingzi, what on earth do you want to do? I sighed. I feel sorry for you. Cousin, if you were really pregnant with Zhou Yang's child, would you still be afraid that he wouldn't marry you? In my previous life, Su Jing was indeed pregnant and colluded with Zhou Yang to bring down the Qing family's business. She fantasized about becoming Mrs. Zhou, but she didn't expect that without the protection of the Qing family, her tenderness and consideration became worthless in Zhou Yang's eyes. Zhou Yang was still determined to marry me as if he had gone crazy. On the wedding day, Su Jing rushed over with a fruit knife. In the chaos, I kindly pushed Zhou Yang. He happened to run into the blade. After a day and a night of rescue, although Zhou Yang's life was saved, he became a vegetable. Even though Su Jing cursed and said that the person she wanted to stab was me, she still couldn't avoid being sent to prison by the Zhou family, and naturally, the child in her belly wasn't saved. The only bloodline of Zhou Yang was gone. However, in his vegetative state, all these things didn't matter anymore. The Zhou family belatedly realized that this was my revenge, but they couldn't find any evidence. They gnashed their teeth and publicized that their son was a pure love warrior and a deep lover who took the knife for his fiancée. I'm afraid that in the whole world, only this fool, Qi and I, thought that I was deeply in love with Zhou Yang. Before he died, he hired more than a dozen bodyguards for me. He purchased several properties abroad. He also quietly formed a high-level medical team to study the rehabilitation technology for vegetative patients. In his will, he told me calmly and distantly, Qingzi is free, no matter which kind of life she chooses, he will support her. I ran back to my room and pressed the yellowed diary against my chest. Tears fell on the back of my hand. I confidently dialed Qini's phone number. Honey, they all bullied me. 9. I wanted to take Qi and I to the hospital for a physical examination. There were still 10 years before he died of gastric cancer. And everything was still in time, but Qi and I avoided me for more than half a month. It was as if I was a man-eating flood or a ferocious beast, so I had to intercept him in front of the pancake stall. Qini's eyes were cold. He was completely different from the passionate person that night. I smiled and said, Boss Qi, add a sausage and 2 eggs. The boy had an expressionless face like a robot, but his hand trembled. And he got a blister from the hot iron plate. It hurts me to see you get hurt. Since Qi and I couldn't say sweet words, then it was my turn. He could just be the female lead in a sweet romance novel. I seized the opportunity and frantically poured out cheesy pickup lines. Qini's ears turned red visibly. Just as I was about to reach out and tease him, a sneer came from behind. The window of the Porsche on the side of the road rolled down, and Zhou Yang leisurely propped his forehead. Gigi, have you had enough of this tantrum for so many days? Do you think you can make me jealous by casually finding a man? He glanced at Qini's back and sneered, and he's such an unremarkable man. Come back with me and apologize to Sister Jingjing. Be good, go to hell. I picked up the ketchup on the table and squirted it all over his head and face. If you lick it clean obediently, I'll apologize. Zhou Yang cared about his face, with ketchup all over his head and face and being watched by people. He didn't have time to wipe off the mess and quickly rolled up the car window. More and more people were watching the scene. Qi and I pursed his lips and left without saying a word. I trotted after him. No matter how much I called him, he ignored me. To avoid me, he went into the restroom. I chased after him. Qini's eyelids twitched. This is the men's restroom. Then will you come to the women's restroom with me? He ignored my humor and said in a cold voice, Qingzi, I won't go to the hospital with you, and you don't need to worry about my business. but I insist on taking care of it. Chi and I was silent for a few seconds. When he raised his eyes, there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. That night, it was just a deal of money and sex. Don't think too much about it. I held back the urge to punch him. I tasted the sex. Did you take the money, or do you, student Chi and I, want to do monthly settlement? He was speechless, even his fair neck turned pink. Just as I was about to tease him a few more words, the sound of footsteps came from outside. Chi and I was quick-eyed and grabbed me into the restroom cubicle. It was a bit dirty. I wrinkled my nose in disgust and grabbed Chi-Ni's sleeve. He lowered his eyes and glanced at me, his expression indifferent, but his hand honestly supported my waist. I took the opportunity to step on his shoes, and the top of my head rubbed against his chin. The distance suddenly closed in, and the cold woody fragrance on the boy diluted the smell of the restroom. In the quiet space, the pattering sound of water outside the door was infinitely amplified, accompanied by the man's whistling. Chi and I frowned and raised his hand to cover my ears. Come to the hospital with me. I mouthed the words. Chi and I ignored me. I reached down and used the opportunity to coerce him. Go or not. I exerted a little force on my hand. A low and hoarse groan escaped from his mouth. Damn it, the whistling outside the door stopped. The door panel that Chi and I was leaning against was knocked twice. Dude, doing handiwork in the restroom during the day, is it that exciting? Meeting Chi-Ni's warning gaze, I wickedly clenched my palm. An uncontrollable gasp suddenly came out of the small cubicle. Because of his forbearance, even the blue veins on the back of his hand bulged. Don't you want to go? Don't force me to kiss you here. He tensed his jaw and nodded stiffly. The person outside had already left. My scheme succeeded, and I pulled Chi and I to go out, but he pulled my wrist away. He panicked and averted his gaze. You go out first. I took a look down. Tisk, student Chi and I, don't do handiwork for too long. It's not good for your health. His face turned completely black. Hee. It's really fun to tease my husband. 10, just to be on the safe side. I made an appointment for a full set of physical examinations. Looking at the long list of examinations, Chi and I frowned resistantly. Why do I need to have so many examinations? Of course, I couldn't say that I was afraid he had cancer. I threw a flirtatious glance at him. To be my man, of course, you need to maintain good health. Ching-Zi, I'm not, he retorted coldly. Student Chi and I, do you like bed play? If you don't want me to kiss you in the hospital, then shut up and have the examinations obediently. Chi-Ni's eyes widened slightly, as if he was shocked. When we walked through the corridor, he suddenly stopped. Ching-Zi, don't you ever, so talkative. I impatiently pushed him into the small room next to us. I pressed him against the door panel, stood on tiptoe, and kissed him, until the heartbeat under my palm became more and more intense. This was dangerous. I was even afraid that he would die of a sudden heart attack. When I pulled away from his lips, he instinctively opened his mouth and leaned forward to chase after me. After realizing what he had done, Chi-Ni's face turned extremely ugly. He raised his hand to cover my eyes, and his palm was trembling. Don't look. The 19-year-old Chi and I had as thin as paper. After being kissed, he became obedient. He didn't say a word for the whole day until the examinations were over. The examination results were not good. There were more than a dozen polyps in Chi-Ni's stomach, and it was difficult to determine their nature. We can only remove them and do a pathological examination. Is there a family history of the disease? The doctor asked. Both my grandfather and grandmother died of gastric cancer. Chi-Ni's eyes were empty, and it was unknown what he was thinking. The doctor's eyes showed pity. You should be hospitalized and have them removed as soon as possible. Chi and I didn't cooperate at all. He had just been admitted to the hospital, and the next day he tried to escape from prison. But I caught him red-handed. I was angry at his indifferent attitude towards his own body. Chi and I, if you keep treating your body like this, I won't like you anymore. I threw the instant noodle box into the cabinet and then placed the nutritious breakfast I brought neatly on the table. It was only when a spoon was stuffed into his hand that Chi and I seemed to come back to his senses. He was all flustered and irritable. Ching-Zi, are you being too confident? Who wants your affection? The 29-year-old Chi and I was gentle and open-minded and would never attack people with mean words. A sick person is always particularly vulnerable. I sighed inwardly and didn't intend to argue. Chi and I threw the spoon back into the bowl. The boiling soup splashed onto my arm, and a patch of skin turned red instantly. Chi-Ni's face paled a bit, and he averted his gaze. His tone was stiff and cold. Miss Chung likes to serve others so much. Why don't you apply for a job as a nurse in the hospital? This was the first time I had heard Chi and I speak sarcastically to me. My arm stung with pain, but it couldn't compare to the discomfort in my chest. I sneered. Chi and I, don't make me angry. as if deliberately going against me. He took out the instant noodles and poured warm water over them. The noodles hadn't even soaked properly, and he ate them quickly and impatiently. I turned around and left. At noon, the nurse called and said that Chi and I had just left the hospital and didn't say where he was going. Did he have instant noodles for lunch again? I asked. Before he left, he finished all the breakfast Miss Ching brought. Did he heat it up? No, I don't know why, but I felt even more uncomfortable. I would rather he had eaten hot instant noodles. Chi and I had always been thrifty in his life. In my previous life, the first time he took me into the empty villa, I thought it was his idle property and that he planned to hide his lover in a luxurious house. Later, I learned that this was his home. The villa had 3 floors in total. What belonged to Chi and I was only a guest bedroom without a balcony and a small study. There were only a few clothes of his in the closet. The second and third floors were my dressing room, cloakroom, audiovisual room, tea room. The entire villa was filled with my things, and occasionally I would feel embarrassed. I asked Chi and I if I was being a bit too much. I didn't have the slightest awareness of being a kept woman. Chi and I, who was looking at the documents, was stunned for a moment. He slowly took off his frameless glasses, and his black eyes were filled with a gentle smile. "Miss, this is your home," he said in a deep voice, more like a coaxing murmur. "Even if you go a bit further, it's not too much." Sigh, my good husband. Why does he have such a long rebellious adolescence? 11. Chi and I didn't go back to school. According to the address given by his roommate, I found his residence. I knocked a few times, but no one answered. The door had a combination lock. I casually entered my birthday, and the door opened. Chi and I wasn't at home. The house was decorated in a cold and simple style, with only black, white, and gray colors. The furniture and furnishings were even more shabby. A familiar pink color peeked out from beside the pillow. I pulled it out and took a look. Sure enough, it was a diary, the diary of the 19-year-old Chi and I. It's not very moral to peek at someone else's diary, so while feeling repentant, I eagerly opened it. It was 99% similar in content to the one in my room. The only difference was that in my previous life, Chi and I had no interaction during our university days, so at most, he would just write a few awkward sentences occasionally. I saw the young lady again, and my heart is beating so fast. I had a dream about her. I'm about to explode with pent-up feelings, and on the latest page of this diary, the handwriting was intermittent and shaking like wavy lines. He wrote, "I finally belonged to the young lady." The marked date was the night at the bar. I felt like laughing. He was really as shyly flirtatious as ever for 10 years. There was a safe beside the bed that didn't match the shabby room at all. I could enter the password with my eyes closed. When I saw what was inside, tears welled up in my eyes first. It was a will. The black characters on the white paper were all too familiar. Chi and I, whose parents had both passed away and had to work part-time to earn his tuition fees since he was a teenager, must have worked so hard to earn so much money. 2 million yuan was probably all his assets. Just like in my previous life, he left everything to me. I wiped away my tears and opened the letter left for me. Chingzi, I don't have any other intentions. I was taken care of by your parents in high school. Consider this money as my repayment. You can dispose of it as you like. Don't think too much about it. The date was last night. I suddenly realized, these past few days, I had been rejoicing that as long as Chi and I had the surgery, he could stay healthy and accompany me until old age. But the 19-year-old Chi and I didn't know that fear is a human instinct. He would be afraid of suffering from a terminal illness like his grandparents. He wasn't the Mr. Chi who could strategize in the business world 10 years later. I should have been more patient. What's the harm in coaxing him a bit more? He was already feeling so bad. I couldn't wait to fly to Chimi's side immediately. Just as I was about to close the safe, my eyes were attracted by the white bedsheet at the bottom layer. I took a few more glances and saw that the bedsheet label had the logo of a hotel pasted on it. Did Chi and I bring back the bedsheet from the hotel that night? I couldn't even bear to look at it. I quickly locked the safe and fled the room with a burning face. You shy little pervert. 12. During the few days when Chi and I was preparing for the surgery, I became the most diligent student in his major. I took full class notes for every class. I asked Chimi's roommate to send them back to the dormitory. After a few times, the boys couldn't hold back and asked me what my relationship with Chi and I was. I smiled. I've had a crush on Chi and I for a long time. The few of them were so shocked that their mouths could fit an egg. Under my brainwashing day after day, when Chi and I was discharged from the hospital and returned to school, his world was turned upside down. Almost everyone knew that the school hunk Chi and I had a fanatical admirer. At 6 o'clock in the morning, I stood downstairs in the boys' dormitory. Chi and I had no choice but to say, "Chingzi, what on earth do you want to do?" I looked up and asked, "Have you brushed your teeth?" He was stunned for a moment, and his eyebrows furrowed, then let me have a kiss. I immediately stood on tiptoe and kissed him. There was a smell of mint toothpaste. I gently poked his chest. "I don't like it. Change to lemon-flavored toothpaste next time." Chi and I grabbed my hand, and the tips of his ears turned completely red. "Chingzi, can you please not be so?" He couldn't even say a complete sentence, because I blocked his mouth again. "Chi and I, the pathological results are out. You're not sick, and you'll be healthy in the future. Is it really that difficult to admit that you like me?" I cried, wronged, tears. Chi and I stood there, stunned, his whole body stiff. I was crying so hard that I was gasping for air. "Stop crying." Chi and I raised his hand and pressed me into his arms. He let out a soft sigh. "I'm not worthy of you, miss. I'm not a good person. If you're with me, you'll regret it." I pinched his pectoral muscle hard. Better to die under the peony flower than to live without love. Chi and I let out a muffled groan. He tightened his embrace, which was as tight as a drum, and his face was expressionless, but that couldn't stop his little brother from greeting me in agreement. "Chi and I haven't had breakfast yet." "Okay." He took a deep breath, seemingly finally calming down. He said awkwardly, "I'll go buy some." In less than 10 minutes, he came back with hot breakfast. They were all the things I liked to eat. In a trance, I seemed to see Chi and I who used to revolve around me in high school. It was also like Mr. Chi who solved all my troubles for me when he was 29 years old, 13. The photo of me and Chi and I hugging was posted on the forum. Some people said that I was too timing, engaged to Zhou Yang on one hand and flirting with the school hunk Chi and I on the other. Those malicious comments were deleted by the system not long after they were posted. I poked Chi and I, who was sitting upright. "Did you delete them?" "Yeah, they were talking nonsense." After some persistent pestering, I successfully moved into Chini's house. But this certain someone was so proper that he would rather sleep in the living room with a tent pitched high every night and give the bedroom to me. There was a new post on the forum. It exposed that everything had nothing to do with Chingzi and that it was Chi and I who was brazenly harassing the other party. I handed the tablet to him and asked, "Which kind-hearted person posted this?" Chini's face became unnatural as he closed the forum page. "Don't look at these, they'll affect your mood." I could tell with my toes who did it. I smiled and threw myself into Chini's arms, afraid that I would fall. He instinctively supported my waist. "Hey, how should I thank my big hero?" I slightly lowered my head and leaned in. Chi and I closed his eyes. His thin lips pursed slightly, a blush appeared on his ears. I couldn't help laughing. Is student Chi and I asking for a kiss, realizing that he had been tricked? He opened his eyes in shame and annoyance. He turned his face to the side. I playfully kneaded his red earlobe. I played with it until it became hotter and hotter. Student Chi and I can endure so much. I leaned over and kissed him, then endured a bit longer. "I'll give you a proper status." How could I bear to let this little pervert who I finally coaxed into my arms be the other woman? 14. A wealthy family's arranged marriage couldn't be called off so easily. Even though Su Jing exaggerated the situation in front of Zhou Yang's parents and said that I had a young lover outside, the Zhou family had no intention of breaking off the engagement. They even said that as long as I was willing to be a daughter-in-law of the Zhou family, they would give me absolute freedom. To put it bluntly, they were just eyeing the Qing family's property behind me. I was determined to break off the engagement. And even though Zhou Yang reacted violently, it was of no avail. On the campus where people were coming and going, he held my arm tightly, his face contorted with anger. "Just because I didn't coax you after our last quarrel, you want to break off the engagement? How can you treat me like this? I won't allow it." Zhou Yang roughly dragged me towards the car. Just as I was about to take out my phone and call the police, Chi and I suddenly pushed through the crowd and rushed over, punching Zhou Yang in the face. Zhou Yang covered his face in pain and let go of my arm, seeing the bruises on my wrist from being grabbed. A cold light flashed in Chini's eyes, and he raised his leg and kicked Zhou Yang in the chest. He pinned the man down and punched him fiercely. When the security guards arrived, Zhou Yang's face was swollen like a pig's head, and he was lying on the ground with blood in his mouth. I held Chini's arm and shook it vigorously. The murderous look in his eyes gradually faded away. He held my hand. And the concern in his eyes couldn't be hidden. If he hadn't been stopped, he probably would have kicked Zhou Yang a few more times. Not long after we arrived at the police station, Zhou Yang's parents rushed towards their son, crying. Su Jing came with my parents. She bit her lip and silently stood behind Zhou Yang. The Zhou family wanted to send Chi and I to prison on the charge of intentional injury. My father was the first to object. How can an act of heroism be considered intentional injury? He smiled and held Chini's hand. Son, I will definitely send you a banner in person another day to thank you for saving my daughter. Chi and I opened his mouth to explain, but after I gave him a glare, he obediently shut up. Zhou Yang's parents were left speechless. To put it in a bigger context, Zhou Yang's act of pulling and dragging me in public was considered kidnapping, which was illegal. The Zhou family had to swallow their anger and humiliation. They hurriedly took their son to the hospital. After a moment of hesitation, Su Jing followed them. My mother pulled me aside, glanced at Chi and I, who was being questioned by my father, and asked in a low voice, "Is he the boy you forced that night?" Even though I had a thick skin, I couldn't help coughing in embarrassment. After being reborn, I monitored Su Jing immediately. I sent my parents her medicine purchase orders and the surveillance video of her drugging me. In the version I told them, I was drugged and was so desperate that I randomly took away the innocence of an innocent male college student. Don't you remember Chi and I? Didn't you and Dad sponsor him to go to university? My mother looked surprised. Our family foundation only sponsors primary and secondary school students in poverty-stricken areas. College students are not within the scope of sponsorship. I nodded, already feeling numb. It seemed that it was another lie fabricated by Chi and I in my previous life to make me feel at ease and accepting the inheritance. Fine, he was really something. I didn't say a word on the way back. Chi and I took out the medicine box and applied ointment to me. He knelt down in front of the sofa. Does it hurt? In fact, the red marks on my wrist had almost faded away, but I didn't say anything. Chi and I looked a bit annoyed. Seeing that I still ignored him, he looked a bit wronged. He lowered his gaze and said, "I'm sorry. What are you sorry for?" I lifted his chin. He didn't resist. Instead, as if he was afraid that the weight of his head would press on my finger, he consciously rested his chin gently on my finger. He said in a hoarse voice, I was too harsh on him. "I'm sorry." I was taken aback for a moment and realized that he was talking about Zhou Yang. He thought I was blaming him for beating up Zhou Yang. I was almost angry enough to laugh. Chi and I'll say this one last time, I like you. Only you. Even if you beat Zhou Yang to death, I won't have any objections. But if Zhou Yang dies, you'll have to pay with your life. Do you want me to be a widow for you again? Chi and I frowned and asked. Again, I grabbed his cheeks in frustration. I don't care. Anyway, your life is mine. Without my permission, don't you dare to mistreat yourself. Chi and I had a strong and handsome face, and his cheeks didn't have much flesh. They were pulled out of shape, looking both ugly and handsome. He gave up resistance and looked at me helplessly. Got it. I rubbed his cheeks and said, "Good boy. I'll reward you tonight." I looked down suggestively. The tips of his ears turned bright red. He said sternly but inwardly timidly, "I'm not so lustful, and I don't think about that kind of thing every day." He went into the kitchen to cook with his head down. The apron strings were tied tightly, outlining his beautiful waistline. The kitchen door wasn't closed. He held the spatula and walked back and forth in front of me. Looking for soy sauce and vinegar, you shy little thing. 15. I sent the information investigated by the private detective to my parents. Even though the Qing and Zhou families had already fallen out, Su Jing still chose to stand on Zhou Yang's side. She didn't even call back. After the incident of drugging me, my father had already withdrawn his love for Su Jing. My mother cried for a while and also saw Su Jing clearly. She asked me what I planned to do. I asked the servant to pack all the worthless things in Su Jing's room and send them to her school. All the valuable bags and jewelry were sold, and the money was converted into cash and donated to poverty-stricken mountainous areas. I also stopped her pocket money. By the way, Su Jing was used to living a lavish life and couldn't stand it for less than a week. She and Zhou Yang, who had just been discharged from the hospital, blocked me at the door of the classroom. I took Qini's hand and signaled him not to be impulsive. Su Jing resorted to her old tricks and knelt down again. She sobbed and pleaded, It's all my fault. Please let me go home. I really can't bear to part with aunt and uncle." Her eyes were misty with tears, and she longed for Zhou Yang to be her savior again, just like last time. But Zhou Yang didn't even glance at her. He stared at me intently. "Gigi, I made her apologize to you. Let's make up and don't break off the engagement." Su Jing looked up in disbelief. I pulled Chi and I and took a step back to avoid being affected by the bad luck. Stung by my disdainful gaze, Zhou Yang suddenly sneered and pointed at Chi and I. "You like him. Don't be naive, Gigi. Do you think he's sincere towards you? You have no idea how despicable this man is." Qini's hand froze for a moment. Zhou Yang looked at the onlookers in the classroom and raised his voice. "Your school hunk once took 300,000 yuan from me and promised to leave my fiancé. Would a despicable person like this, who is only interested in money, have true love? Gigi, you're so naive. 16. Many eyes turned to Chi and I. Surprise, contempt, disgust. Chi and I didn't care. He was originally a person who had struggled in the mud, a person who had been so poor since childhood that he couldn't even afford a piece of meat. What self-esteem could he have? But in front of Qingzi, he desperately tried to maintain a bit of dignity, even if he couldn't get her love. He didn't want to be more hated. That year, he saved the young lady who fell into the water. His legs were broken by the stones at the bottom of the river, and he was in so much pain that he passed out for a day. As soon as he woke up, he received the sad news that his grandfather was critically ill. The surgery fee was 300,000 yuan. Zhou Yang gave it to him. In exchange, Chi and I needed to disappear from Qingzi's sight. He also couldn't tell anyone about the incident of saving her. Chi and I knew that by taking this money, he would be even further away from Qingzi. He shouldn't have any more extravagant hopes. He was despicable and shameless. After the college entrance examination, he inquired about her college application. Chi and I went to the same school. He had no other thoughts. It would be fine just to pass by. It would be even better if he could take a look at her. Every time the young lady touched him, he was on the verge of losing his mind. He endured and didn't dare to move. His heart uncontrollably gave birth to a crazy longing for her to get closer. He was afraid of being seen through his despicable inner self. The feelings that couldn't be expressed aloud blossomed into an eternal flower on his broken and dirty soul, until the girl beside him held his hand tightly, playfully tugged at his ear. Student Chi and I, are you a fool? Do you think this young lady is only worth 300,000 yuan? 17. Chi and I was on high alert. I thought there was something serious, but in the end, was this all there was? Zhou Yang, you're so stingy. I'm ashamed to have you as my former fiancé. I didn't care what the ferocious-looking Zhou Yang was thinking. I dragged Chi and I out of the crowd. When we reached a secluded corridor, Chi and I suddenly hugged me from behind. His chin gently rested on my shoulder, and the breath he exhaled tickled my ear. Miss, his voice was hoarse. I'm not a good person. I rolled my eyes. I've heard this sentence so many times in 2 lifetimes that my ears are almost calloused. So what? I asked irritably. I like you so much, miss. He spoke slowly, his tone awkward yet extremely earnest. I covered my wildly beating heart. It wasn't even a particularly passionate love confession, but I was hopelessly moved. I already knew that. Miss, he called again in a low voice, his voice broken and lingering. He had no idea how alluring he looked at this moment. He was cautious and tentatively touched my ear with his lips. Miss, I shuddered and stopped him. Don't call me that. Call me that tonight. 18. Su Jing was pregnant with Zhou Yang's child. However, Zhou Yang's parents refused to let her into the family. Just like in the previous life, she tried to bring down the Qing family to please Zhou Yang's parents. But in this life, I had already reminded my parents. As soon as Su Jing took the company documents, the police arrested her at the Zhou family's residence. For stealing company secrets, Su Jing was sentenced to 3 years in prison. The Zhou family certainly didn't want to take care of her, but Su Jing was pregnant with Zhou Yang's child. With this guarantee, she lived quite comfortably in prison. Zhou Yang came to me several times to try to get back together, but my parents drove him away. He didn't want to admit the existence of the child in Su Jing's belly and went to race with others when he was in a depressed mood. The brake line had been tampered with, and Zhou Yang, along with his car, rolled down the mountain. Although he survived, his private part was injured, and he lost his fertility. The child in Su Jing's belly became the only hope of the Zhou family. They secretly had someone do a paternity test, and it turned out to be a boy. In the end, the child wasn't saved. Su Jing bullied others in prison relying on her pregnancy, and there were many people who couldn't stand her. After losing the child, she also lost her only value. The Zhou family discarded her like garbage. Su Jing wrote many letters and sent them to the Qing family. Before the letters reached my parents' hands, I instructed the servant to throw them into the trash. Chi and I started a company. He didn't go to the stall to sell multigrain pancakes every day anymore. I asked him why. He said there was a smell. So what? He blushed and didn't say anything. At night, while he was taking a shower, I had the nerve to peek at his diary. The boy in the diary was overly honest. If there's a smell on my body, the young lady won't kiss me. I quietly put the diary back. When Chi and I came out, I sniffed. I'm in trouble. Student Chi and I just lit the aphrodisiac incense that Su Jing gave me. Chini's body stiffened. I staggered and leaned into his arms. I quickly pulled off the annoying bath towel, touched him twice. I looked up and asked, Chi and I, are you hot? His Adam's apple rolled twice. and his collarbone turned pink. His hand silently supported my waist. He said hoarsely, "Yes, I'm hot." The bedsheet was soiled again. Chi and I changed to a new set. I sat on the bed, swinging my feet. His gaze dropped, and his movements became slower and slower. Finally, he threw away the bedsheet. He slowly knelt down beside the bed. I raised my foot and pressed it against his chest. He obediently held it and kissed up attentively. With his other hand, he opened the bedside table and took out a new box. He looked up at me with wet eyes. "I'm uncomfortable, miss, I want more." All night long, the little pervert said a lot of flirtatious words. With a blushing face, the company arranged a 12-hour live streaming task for me every day. He knows exactly what I like. He deliberately bit my ear and called me one after another, "Miss. I like it, kiss me more." Okay, even when he was bullied severely, he wasn't angry. His black eyes were shining brightly, like a tamed puppy. Without any bottom line, the young lady can do anything to me.